All right, Israel. Shalom. Hope everybody is doing Tawab. Shabbat Shalom. Shout out Stream of Wisdom, Houston. Stream of Wisdom, SOW, Rochester, New York, and Norfolk, Virginia. Hope everybody's doing well today. Shout out Swore the Truth family, Cabo Cab in Guatemala, Amayataza in London. The brothers and sisters in Cali and Atlanta. We hope everybody's doing well. We're going to get started in class today. Another Shabbat. We're going to get our prayers up first. Then we'll get into the class shortly afterwards. Ready? Imagine. Rakta Yahweh B'Shem Yahshai.
Wakti Yahweh B'Shem Yahshai.
Ha. Nothing now. A war. Zion one. The water.
Aman. Bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us light this day. Thanks. So be it.
Okay. Rakta Yahweh B'Shem Yahshai.
Wakti Yahweh B'Shem Yahshai.
Ha. Nothing now. Rayach. Na'yachachah. The water.
Aman. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us sweet savor. Thank you. So be it.
Imagine Waponya, Yerushalayim.
Stand and face Jerusalem.
Shalom everybody online. Shalom everybody. Okay. Rakta Yahweh B'Shem Yahshai.
Wakti Yahweh B'Shem Yahshai.
Rakta Yahweh B'Shem Yahshai.
Wakti Yahweh B'Shem Yahshai.
Ahawa. Nothing now. Shabbat. B'Shalom. The water.
Aman. Bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the Sabbath in peace. Thank you. So be it.
Okay. Psalms 121. Anasha,
Ayanyamya,
Ahoyam, Ma'aya, Yabu'a, Isaiah, Yabu'a, Yahweh, Sha'isha, Shemayim, Wa'aratiza, La'a, Yanathan, Lamawat, Ragalia, Lala'a, Nawam, Shashamoyah, Hana, Yala'a, Nawam, Wala'a, Yishon, Sheshawamar, Yashua, Yahweh, Shemaya, Yahweh, Tazaria, Ayat, Yanyamya, Yad, Hashemash, Yala'a, Hakaya, Bayawam, Wala'a, Halabana, Balayala, Yahweh, Yashemaya, Makor, Right, Yashemar, Napasha, Yahweh, Yashmur, Hawalakia, Wa'ayah, Ma'atha,
Amen. I will lift up my eyes into the hills. From whence comes my help? My help comes from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. Amen.
Israelite Credo. Shema Yahshua, Yahweh, Elohayno, Yahweh, Echad. Shema Yahshua, Yahweh, Elohayno, Yahweh, Echad. Shema Yahshua, Yahweh, Elohayno, Yahweh, Echad.
Hear Israel, Yahweh our power, Yahweh is one.
Okay. Lord's Prayer. Abinah, Shabbat Shemar, Quadash, Haya, Shemka, Yahweh, Malak Wafka, Taba'ah, Ratazaka, Haya, Aisha, Ba'aratiza, Kawa, Haya, Bashemar, Neftalmanah, Lachom, Kol, Yawam, Watsalachano, Cho Wathanah, Kasalachano, خو بطنه ولا up طب يعنو بنسى one أبو أو شانو مايان right كيا لكا أملاكوا وهألا وهتابا أرف لأي Amen.
Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Your desire be done on earth.
No, thy kingdom. No, this is it. That's not it. That's not it. It's this one. Read that.
Yeah. Right. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen.
Amen.
10 Commandments. La'ayahaya. Laka. Alahaya. Ahoya. Honya.
Thou shalt know the powers before me.
Number 2. La'a. Ta'ayna. Laka. Kasor. Wala'a. Ta'aybo.
Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, nor serve them.
Number 3. La'a. Talach. Sham. Yahweh. Bashua.
Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy power in vain.
Number 4. Zakor. Hayawah. Kashabah. Lakwalashwa.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
Kabad. Abaka. La'amaka.
Honor thy father and thy mother.
La'a. Tharatazah.
Thou shalt not kill, murder.
Number 7. La'a. Thana'a.
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
La'a. Thagana.
Thou shalt not steal.
Number 9. La'a. Ta'ayna. Shakwa.
Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.
La'a. Thachamad. Ko. Asherah. La'ra'aika.
Thou shalt not covet anything which is thy neighbor's.
Barak Yahweh B'Shem Yashai. Ahawa. Nathalano. Hathawara.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us this law.
Israel, you shopping? Take a seat. Okay. I just want to get a brief recap of the historical time that we're in. I don't want to take too much time on it, but I think it's important that we reestablish where we're at in time. It is a time period between 609 BC and 598 BC. Okay? When we're going through Jeremiah, it's in between this timetable because it's in between the time that Emperor Necho put Jehoiakim on the throne after King Josiah died, and after the next man up, which was Shalom, which was anointed by the people, was taken down to Egypt and made a prisoner in perpetuity. So Jehoiakim was in power. He started being in power in 609 BC. He was a vassal for the Egyptian Empire for 4 years. And then in 605 BC is actually when King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon came into power, and they started becoming vassals to King Nebuchadnezzar in 605. Okay, so I just want to make sure we're conscious of this timetable, because after we get through today's class, we'll be in position to start seeing a lot of the shifting in the power structure and the beginning of the significant fall that we had. Today's class is still dealing with the countless times that Jeremiah, through the Spirit of the Most High, kept warning Israel about the impending fall, even though in Israel's eyes it looked like everything was okay. Israel convinced themselves, or they took signs and situations the wrong way, making them think that things were going to be okay, when in actuality, the Most High was setting us up for a major fall. Okay, we're going to read all the blowback that Jeremiah got because of what he was speaking, of the constant reminders of Israel to get right. We're going to constantly see the attacks that Jeremiah kept getting. Last week's class was about Jeremiah versus Jehoiakim. The class really focused on Jehoiakim's wickedness and his abuse of the people. Towards the end of the class, we started seeing how the princes, the elite, including Jehoiakim, were anti-Jeremiah, and they were giving him a lot of hell. This class is going to be more of a continuance of that same topic. Then after we get through all the hell Jeremiah caught through the reign of Jehoiakim, then we're going to start seeing how and why Israel started preferring Egypt and following Egypt's reign and breaking through the vassalship that they were supposed to be under by the Nebuchadnezzar or the Babylonian Empire. I know if it's getting confusing, y'all, I know these last few weeks it's information dense and we're going through a lot of chapters and it can be difficult, but it's important that we set things up right to explain the fall and to explain why Israel, Most High, over time turned his back on us. So if anybody online has questions, don't hesitate to ask, especially if the question is dealing with times, events, sequence of events. If you got questions, just text it. Hopefully we'll address it. Okay? So, first verse we're going to jump into today is Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 1. Cry, I need to salute you in.
Karaya, Shashamata, Banashah, Banyashala.
Karaya, Shoshamata, Banashar, Banyashar. Imagine. Bro. Yahweh Hashem Hashem Rekatah.
Yahweh Hashem Hashem Rekatah.
Hey, your cup, sir.
More mopping, man. No, I'm messing with you. It didn't drop. I'm messing with you. Yeah, everything worked out, man. Everything's going to be okay. Okay, so Jeremiah chapter 1 and 1.
Jeremiah chapter 1 and verse 1. The words of Jeremiah, the son of Hilkiah, of the priests that were in Anathoth, in the land of Benjamin.
So this chapter, this kind of goes into where Jeremiah is from. First verse tells you he was the son of Hilkiah, which was the high priest in the time in the realm of Josiah. Okay? We're also here dealing with that he came from Anathoth. So he was a Levite who was doing Levitical work in the jurisdiction of the people of Benjamin, in the city and land of Anathoth. Why is that important? We're going to go into Jeremiah chapter 11 and verse 6. Because this is going to be the start of where Jeremiah's contentions initiate themselves. The contentions that Jeremiah faced because of the word that he was teaching concerning the impending doom and the impending fall of Jerusalem. Okay? Read verse 6. Jeremiah 11, verse 6 through 23.
Jeremiah chapter 11 and verse 6. Then the Most High said unto me, proclaim all these words in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem, saying, hear ye the words of this covenant and do them.
So listen, he said, I want you to go to all these different cities and streets in Judah. And you got to pound the pavement and tell Israel they're about to fall if they don't change. Read on.
For I earnestly protested unto your fathers in the day that I brought them up out of the land of Egypt, even unto this day, rising early and protesting, saying, obey my voice. Yet they obeyed not, nor inclined their ear, but walked everyone in the imagination of their evil heart.
And this still happens today. This still happens that Israel does what they want to do. They do what they feel is best for them. And they neglect their obligations and responsibility for the Most High. Read on.
Therefore, I will bring upon them all the words of this covenant, which I commanded them to do. But they did them not.
Well, you're just talking about all these curses that he wrote, that Moses wrote through the Spirit of the Most High in Deuteronomy 28, is going to actually come to fruition. Read on.
And the Most High said unto me, a conspiracy is found among the men of Judah and among the inhabitants of Jerusalem.
So now he's saying it's not just one guy that's operating like an individual over here, another person operating as an individual over here. Now we're saying there's a conspiracy. There's a group of people that are set to pushing a different doctrine than the doctrine of the Heavenly Father. Read on.
Verse 10. They are turned back to the iniquities of their forefathers, which refused to hear my words, and they went after other gods to serve them. The house of Israel and the house of Judah have broken my covenant, which I made with their fathers.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, thus saith the Most High, behold, I will bring evil upon them, which they shall not be able to escape. And though they shall cry unto me, I will not hearken unto them. Then shall the cities of Judah and inhabitants of Jerusalem go and cry to the gods unto whom they offer incense, but they shall not save them at all in the time of their trouble. For according to the number of thy cities were thy gods.
He's telling you, man, it was so bad. The amount of cities we had, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, was the amount of gods that we were serving during this time of prosperity, during this time of comfort. Read on.
Verse 13. For according to the number of thy cities were thy gods, O Judah, and according to the number of the streets of Jerusalem have ye set up altars to that shameful thing.
So that shows that we were extremely dedicated to these false gods. If it's in every street, that's like a gas station in every street. Every street there's a gas station. In every black neighborhood there's an abortion clinic and a bunch of pawn shops and liquor stores. So it's showing you how common this issue is amongst our people.
And this idolatry. Continue.
Even altars to burn incense unto Baal. Therefore, pray not thou for this people, neither lift up a cry or prayer for them.
Most High is telling us that when people are that obstinate, when people are that rebellious in the direction that they want to go, Most High is like, he doesn't even want us to pray for people that aren't trying to change, that show no contrition and show no remorse for their sins. Read on.
For I will not hear them in the time that they cry unto me for their trouble. What have my beloved to do in mine house, seeing she have wrought lewdness with many, and the holy flesh is passed from thee?
Mm-hmm.
When thou doest evil, then thou rejoicest. The Most High called thy name a green olive tree, fair and of goodly fruit.
We were created to be that green olive tree that was supposed to produce good fruit, good works, positive development for the nation. That's what we were created to be. But for many years, we never fulfilled our end of the bargain. Read on.
With the noise of a great tumult, he have kindled fire upon it, and the branches of it are broken.
We're going to get to the point. We got to go through the long chapters to get and let the plot kind of thicken to where the direction is going, even while we went to Jeremiah chapter 1, saying that Jeremiah was from Anathoth. This is obviously a time when Jeremiah was younger in his teaching, when he started teaching and doing the will of the Most High and explaining that this downfall was upcoming. Read on.
Verse 17. For the Lord of hosts that planted thee have pronounced evil against thee, for the evil of the house of Israel and of the house of Judah, which they have done against themselves, to provoke me to anger in offering incense unto Baal. And the Most High have given me knowledge of it, and I know it. Then thou showest me their doing.
What Jeremiah is saying is that the Most High opened Jeremiah's eyes as to what Israel was doing behind closed doors. This was closer to the time that Josiah was in power, that this situation is happening. Okay, so once again, I'm trying to explain that when you're going through Jeremiah, you're getting in a large span of time, over 20 plus years, that is being chronicled. So they don't get specific with the years and times, but you have to look at it in the span of 25, actually even 25, 30 years, because even Jeremiah starts his teaching and his prophetic career during the time of Josiah. And some of his writings is actually during the time that Josiah was still alive, which was before 609 BC. So let's keep going. So the Most High showed Jeremiah that the priests and the people were committing idolatry behind closed doors, even though Josiah was establishing the ending and the eliminating of the idolatry. Let's keep going.
Verse 19. But I was like a lamb or an ox that is brought to the slaughter, and I knew not that they had devised devices against me.
So listen, this is what Jeremiah is saying. We went over the beginning part multiple weeks ago when we were dealing with Josiah. But what Jeremiah is saying is, as the Most High revealed to me what Israel was doing behind closed doors, how Israel was sitting back here and committing idolatry behind closed doors, the Most High also made it privy to Jeremiah what the priest and the princes and the leadership was doing behind closed doors in response to neutralizing Jeremiah.
So they were actively in sedition.
Listen, they were in sedition. They were plotting to take this guy out. What people, and this is why I always say that Israel hasn't done nothing for the Most High yet. Even Paul said, how many Israelites have resisted unto blood? Not many of us have resisted unto blood. This is what Jeremiah has to understand. I was like a lamb to the slaughter. Israel was plotting to take me out. Because of the revelation the Most High showed Jeremiah about what Israel was doing behind closed doors.
And that wasn't poetic language. That was reality.
No, that wasn't. This wasn't like the weeping prophet coming off. He was like, listen, these guys are after me. And we're going to keep reading through today's class about the numerous times that the priest, leadership, the elites, the princes were constantly gunning for Jeremiah. And this is just from the period of time that Josiah was in power through Jehoiakim. It gets even worse when you get to Zedekiah. It gets even worse. So, read verse 19 again.
Come. Jeremiah chapter 11 and verse 19. But I was like a lamb or an ox that is brought to the slaughter, and I knew not that they had devised devices against me, saying, let us destroy the tree with the fruit thereof, and let us cut him off from the land of the living.
Listen, there were plots. Listen, they had intricate plots out.
Yeah.
To sit back and take this guy out.
Yeah.
To take Jeremiah. We're going to cut this guy from the land of the living. And we're going to cut off the fruit. When it says we're going to cut off the tree with the fruit, we're going to cut off what he's bringing to the table. We're going to neutralize this movement. We're going to neutralize the good that he's doing. This is why I don't know if I'm gonna get myself in trouble with this. But if the message is being brought out clearly and in the purest intent, you're not gonna have tens of thousands of viewers. How about that? If the message is being brought out the right way, you're not gonna have all this money, all these resources, all these viewers, because ultimately when you're doing things the right way, people don't like to hear things being done the right way.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear the message being done the right way. And the message is going to get neutralized in some form of fashion to stifle the message out. This is what Jeremiah is explaining. This is what all the prophets, if you read through it, you can put two and two together. Don't forget even Christ. When Christ died, right? How many people were followers of Christ when he died? And then 30 days later, he came back and revealed himself to him. It's in Acts 1 and 15. The number of the names together were about 120. It was 120 people that followed Christ in his purest form, in the purest rawness of him. Listen, if you're doing things the right way, you're not going to get the numbers. You're not going to get the elites and the governing body on your side. Okay? So, why am I saying that? Just when you look at other Israelite groups, when they got the tens of thousands of viewers and all these people, all this financial support, there's something more to it. And I'm going to leave it at that. So, verse 19 in Jeremiah 11 and 19, Jeremiah was speaking the truth. He was ruffling a lot of feathers, and people wanted him dead, and they were hatching out plans to eliminate and nix Jeremiah off the table. Read on.
Come on. It says, and let us cut him off from the land of the living, that his name may be no more remembered. But, O Lord of hosts, that judges righteously, that triest the reins and the heart.
And it shows often the righteous men are despised and hated.
Mm-hmm.
This is an often thing.
They're despised, they're hated, and the next step is, how do I get rid of them? It builds to, I got to get this guy out of my life. I first of all don't like you. I don't like what you stand for. You're making me uncomfortable. And I can't stand this guy. The next natural step is, what are we going to do to take care of him?
And the funny
we got
part,
to get rid of this guy.
The world always plays this concept. Esau's the guy that gets rid of the great men.
And he does.
And
let's not front.
Listen, he does that. But Israel does too.
There you go. Israel does it too.
Israel does it too.
Yeah.
This is a constant general. This is a general thing.
Or Esau will sit back here and go to the right Israelite to do it for him. It happens a lot of times too.
Yeah. You got Malcolm X, bro.
I know.
Using his own brothers.
I know. But they got paid off. It was a mutual beneficial move. So anyway, let's keep going. Verse 20.
But I'm saying that because that's the dynamic going on right here.
Gone. So let's keep going.
Gone.
And what you're going to read all throughout Jeremiah's life, this guy was one of the greatest of all time. For what he endured, the level of hell he caught, and standing up for what's right, should give us a glimpse of what it takes to truly get acknowledged from the Heavenly Father. Let's continue.
Verse 20.
Don't forget, after we go from long stretches of reading or talking, go back to the top of the verse. I mean, like Jeremiah 11 in verse 20. You know what I mean?
Come on. Jeremiah chapter 11 in verse 20. But, O Lord of hosts, that judges righteously, that tries the reins and the heart, let me see thy vengeance on them, for unto thee have I revealed my cause.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, thus saith the Most High, of the men of Anathoth, that seek thy life.
First of all, so who's the one who wants him dead? The people of his hometown.
Yeah.
The people from his hometown of Anathoth want him dead.
Just been the hometown hero.
Well, listen. No, that's the point. You don't get hometown heroes in Israel. What did Christ say? Hold this verse and go to Luke chapter 4 and 24. Luke 4 and 24.
Come. Luke chapter 4 and verse 24. And he said, verily I say unto you, no prophet is accepted in his own country.
That's the point, When you're in your own hometown, your own city, you're not accepted, You're hated.
Right.
You're looked upon as a threat.
Mm-hmm.
You're looked upon as a threat, and people are going to do what they got to do to eradicate this threat. This is what Christ is saying. This is what history tells us. This is what history shows us. Okay? Shalom. So where are we at? So go back to Jeremiah chapter 11, verse 21.
Come. Jeremiah chapter 11 and verse 21. Therefore, thus saith the Lord of the men of Anathoth, that seek thy life, saying,
those same priests that built you up, that you grew up with, And they know Jeremiah was speaking the truth about what those men were doing. The Most High knows it, right? And they know Jeremiah was on point, but the priest, all the people that had that conspiracy in hiding that negative and concealing their idolatry, they were also establishing a conspiracy to take and eradicate Jeremiah out the picture.
To continue the idolatrous practices.
To keep doing their negative without being discovered. To keep it hidden. Read on.
Come. Prophesy not in the name of the Most High, that thou die not by our hand.
Read on. Listen, first of all, read it from top again. Verse 21.
Come. Jeremiah chapter 11 and verse 21. Therefore, thus saith the Lord of the men of Anathoth, that seek thy life, saying, prophesy not in the name of the Most High, that thou die not by our hand.
What they're saying is, stop prophesying about us so we can keep you alive.
We're trying to have mercy on you.
Listen, they say, listen, G, if you stop talking, you won't be swimming with the fishes. But if you keep outing us about what we're doing, we're going to kill you, right?
Yeah.
But he says, Moses says, tell those men that are threatening you this. Read on.
Verse 22. Therefore, thus saith the Lord of hosts, behold, I will punish them. The young men shall die by the sword. Their sons and their daughters shall die by famine. And there shall be no remnant of them. For I will bring evil upon the men of Anathoth, even the year of their visitation.
Listen, it's still, listen, it's easier said than done. It's truly easier said than done to go back and tell them that when they're threatening you with their life, with your life. It's easy to sit back here and read it. It's cool. It's cool to read it in scripture. But to sit back and go back to these people and tell them to their face that their sons and their kids are going to die.
In famine.
And he's doubling down. After they said, we're going to kill you if you keep telling us where we're at.
And the very next message is,
hey, listen, I'm going to double down. You're going to die. Your kids are going to die. You're going to suffer. This is what the Lord said.
Yeah.
I'm out of here.
But when we were in church, when we were in Baptist church and Catholic church, they never really explained this aspect of the scriptures.
Hell no.
Because Jeremiah was the crying prophet. He just cried. He saw Israel fall, and he cried because Israel was falling. He doesn't show. We never learned in church. Israel was falling because we were conspiring against the priests.
And they were saying, we're going to kill you. We're going to kill you if you don't stop talking about us and pointing out what you know is correct. Listen, this is where this contention is a one-sided contention. The title was about Jeremiah's contention with the elite of Israel. But it's one-sided. It's his threats and assassination attempts one after another.
And we read last Shabbat the whole culture of the elite, the whole culture of the nobles of Israel. Extremely selfish, extremely arrogant, extremely prideful. And now you're going against that same... The nobles were controlling the king. God,
we're actually just starting now. Today, we're just starting from the beginning when the first couple of threats started happening.
Yeah.
And then the threats keep escalating over time.
Yeah.
This is the first one where he got his intricate plot against him. About his own people, the priests of his own city, his own hometown. Then it gets closer and closer to Jerusalem. Then you get to Jerusalem and they threaten him in Jerusalem.
It's over from that point.
And it gets harder and harder and harder on him. The closer Israel gets to their finality, the harder it gets on Jeremiah.
And certain priests, we read last Shabbat, one guy just said, I'm running, man. I'm getting out of here.
Oh, he got killed.
He got the hell out of there.
He tried to. He went to Jeremiah and they brought him back and killed him anyway. So listen, next chapter, we're going to let that go to Jeremiah 18, verse 11 through 23.
And why 18?
Because there's going to be more bad news for Jeremiah. We're gonna go through the countless times Jeremiah sat back here and stood up against these prophets and priests, and what type of blowback he got for it. So Jeremiah 18 and 11.
Jeremiah chapter 18 and verse 11. Now therefore, go to, speak to the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, saying, Thus saith the Most High, Behold, I frame evil against you.
Listen, the Most High says he's framing evil against you. That means he's setting up a plot in a situation to set you up. We're going to go into the specifics of one of the ways he set this up and he framed it. But when I was studying this, I never understood why in like around 602 BC, why Jehoiakim thought it was smart to stop paying tribute to the king of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar. It just didn't make sense. And they said that Jehoiakim put his trust and faith in Egypt. And I never understood what the hell that meant and why, what situation made Jehoiakim think, I don't got to pay these dudes no more. I can sit back here and fall back to Egypt. But as I was reading and doing some studying, at the same time, and we'll go into this later, but at the same time that Jehoiakim cut off tribute, the Babylonians and the Egyptians had a war in 602 to 601 BC. And the consequence of that war is that the Babylonian army and the Egyptian army got badly damaged and diminished. So what ended up happening is Babylon left back to their home country to recover militarily, financially, and to stabilize their army again, while Egypt took that time to reclaim the land of the Philistines and to reestablish the Levant back into the Egyptian periphery for a period of time. So it was really a stalemate, but it could be perceived that Egypt won. And when Jehoiakim noticed that, okay, Egypt won, cool, we can sit back here now and stop paying the Babylonians because the Egyptians are going to back us.
We're looking for a discount.
But they're looking for a deal,
yeah.
And they're like, man, this war kind of went on the Egyptians' favor, so I can bet on the notion that Babylon ain't coming back, and if they do, the Egyptians will have our back.
He's making a bet.
Well, see, but this is the Most High framing evil against Israel, creating this illusion, creating this impression that I can go against prophecy. I can go against what the Most High ordained us to do, because what the Most High told us to do was to sit back and pay our debt and be a vassal to Babylon. That's going to be brought out later on.
But there's always an option that's a door
to give us the impression that I don't got to lock in.
Listen.
But that is how the Most High frames evil against us. We're given counsel. We're given instruction of what to do and how to operate. But there's always a little window there to make us think that we don't have to lock in. There's hope that I can choose the flesh and not have to sit back here and do what I'm told to stay in order. That's how the Most High frames evil against you. He creates a little notion that maybe your way will work. Maybe I don't have to lock in. Maybe I don't have to adjust and adapt to the order, to the instruction,
to the direction the Spirit's taking.
That the Spirit's taking me. But the Spirit works through people.
But this is a constant theme in everybody's life and in every political situation.
And that's why I'm taking the time to explain it, because you're good. Because it's how the Most High set up Israel for the fall. But really, was it a setup?
No.
Or was it a situation that opened up a door that you wanted to follow anyway?
Choose you this day, life or death.
Just like the Most High says, or in Corinthians, where it says the Most High gives us an escape, and He won't give you anything you can't handle. He gives you a way to overcome and stay through your battle. He also gives you a window if you want to choose the flesh, even though the Spirit's right there. You got to choose. You got to make the choice to go right. Versus, even though there might be an option for me to go left.
Because people have this notion, this false idea of, well, if God was good, why does He allow evil? Because you want to choose it anyway.
Because you chose it. You chose it. And listen, He can't eliminate the choice. Yeah. You got to choose staying in order. You got to choose being the right, doing things the right way.
If God was this perfect guy in the sky, why will He allow this door to be open? Why would He give us the opportunity to do bad things?
Because you got to choose the right way. You can't be forced to do the right thing. Listen, Most High had prophets daily coming to the leadership, specifically instructing them on what to do.
Yeah.
But then he opened up a crack in the door and said, hey, the Babylon fled. They lost a lot of fighters in this war in 602. Maybe we don't have to pay our debt right now. Maybe we don't have to pay our money.
Am I going to stay?
Am I going to sit back and follow the counsel that Jeremiah, that prophet of the Lord is saying? Or are we going to sit back here and use this window of opportunity to justify what we want to do in the flesh? This is a perfect setup to how the Most High deals with us in our lives. It's the same concept. But read verse 11 again from the top.
Jeremiah chapter 18 and verse 11. Now therefore go to, speak to the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, saying, Thus saith the Most High, Behold, I frame evil against you, and devise a device against you. Return ye now, every one from his evil way.
So what he's saying is that the trap is set. The trap is laid. Don't fall into the trap. Be obedient and return to the Heavenly Father. Because if you go the opposite way, the trap is set, you're going to fall into the trap, and you're going to suffer the repercussions of following into the trap. So avoid it. Just lock in. Don't like Isa says, don't take the cheese, huh? There's cheese right there. But it's weirdly placed, it's weirdly propped up. There's metal items around it.
It's a little spring.
But it looks so damn tasty. I can smell it.
It's more.
You ever see those Tom and Jerry commercials out when you had the cheese and it is odor that's kind of floating here, and it catches the rice like this, and he just can't stop following the delectable aroma of the cheese.
Huh?
The Spirit's like, don't take the cheese. You think you can get out of this? You think you can get out of this suffering? Lock in and don't follow the trap, because the trap is set. What you gonna say?
I literally was just trying to catch a rat a couple of days.
Oh, that's country life right there, man. That's in the country right there.
Set the trap up. I put a little bit of orange chicken, a little bit of
orange
He got
chicken,
a special for him.
Orange chicken. That's awesome, man.
And literally, I'm waiting to hear this sound in the middle of the night. I checked the trap in the morning. It went around all the little mechanisms.
Wow.
Found the little cup. Got it out the cup. It was just licked clean. And the trap was never set off.
That's intelligence, huh?
It learned.
It might be a
pet.
It might be a pet.
That's some Charles Darwin stuff right there. You know why? Because the previous owners had some traps too, and they learned from that. His uncle died that way, a rat uncle died, He's like, I gotta do it different next time,
Yeah, they had little rat meetings.
But see, they had rat conspiracy councils. They had councils,
in the walls.
But the Most High's traps are foolproof. How about that one?
Yeah.
And the Most High is like, listen, don't eat the cheese, Don't go there. Just lock in. But see, the problem is this. Nobody knows how the setup is put together. Nobody knows how the setup is, We don't know how we're going to get drawn in, how we're going to fall. We just know it's going to come. So don't do it.
How should we get this man to go to Ramoth Gilead?
How are we going to convince him?
Yeah.
How are we going to sit back and set the trap up for this guy?
Yeah.
Yes, sir?
Quick question. If you're taking too far, let me know. So with Jehoiakim going to Babylon, would that have been like the wisdom of the world that if I make this move, I'm going to pay less taxes, I'm going to get this defense, I'm going to get this security, get this help. So that wisdom would seem like that would be the wise decision, even though the prophet, Jeremiah was saying do it this way, but the wisdom of the world would be, because you mentioned up in Corinthians about choices that we make.
Yeah.
That how many times we'll look at what we think is wisdom,
but
it'll be a worldly wisdom, but it's not what the Most High was directing.
And also, Jehoiakim had a greater relationship with Nico.
Okay.
Nico was the one who chose him. You know how the kings back then, they would change the name out. His name was Eliakim. He says, your mama called you Eliakim, I'm going to call you Jehoiakim. It's jacked up, but he had a relationship. He had a good deal. Whatever it was, he had a better deal with Nico. It was probably financially better. It had to be financially better. And also his brother was still out there in exile. But whatever deal it was better than the Babylonians were. It doesn't go into, because I've looked, why specifically would he choose Egypt? But I do know for multiple generations, we always kept wanting to go to Egypt for that security. There was something about Egypt that we just had to gravitate to in comparison to, but the crazy thing, Josiah wanted to back Babylon because he felt that Egypt had too much control over the Levant. Because Egypt, it wasn't just Egypt was running Egypt. Egypt ran to Philistia, they ran Moab, they ran all the way up to Syria.
Yeah.
They had the entire area. So that was why I think Jehoiakim had confidence in Egypt, because it was truly a stalemate when they fought in 602. They left. Don't forget, they didn't come back from 602 until 598. That was 4 years later.
Right.
So they thought they got out of it. They thought they made a smart move, and they didn't feel the brunt until the troops in full damn gear came and surrounded them in 598. Then they gave it up. Point is, Egypt had control over that entire area. And I guess what they had confidence in was after Babylon left in 598 BC, Babylon, before they came down to fight in 602, had reconquered Philistia. Then came down and went to war with Egypt. They lost that war, went back up. Egypt came back up to Philistia to reestablish that country that they lost. So now, Jerusalem's like, okay, well, damn, they came back and reclaimed their vassalship over Philistia. That means they're not going to give up the vassal power over the Levant at all. So maybe I can have confidence that they're not going to give up the vassalship with us if they come down and deal with us. If Babylon comes down and attacks us. So I think we'll get more protection from Egypt, and we got a better deal. The Jeroboam had a relationship with Necho in the first place, so they rather would deal with the guy that they know than the guy they don't know. So I think that was more of the reason. That's the best I can go off of in regards to what they gave us.
Okay.
Yeah, but listen, it's definitely interesting. But when you see how the Most High set them up with the illusion that Egypt would come through for them, and that they actually fought them at least to a stalemate, you would think, damn, maybe they don't want to come back and fight them no more. They damaged Babylon pretty badly. They might not want to come back and even deal with this territory. They might just keep them, because at the same time, they were still dealing with minor seditions in Babylon with the Medes and with their little issues up north. So they're like, well, maybe we can sit back and hold back here and we'll be all right. And then the time brings about comfort.
True.
4 years.
Yeah.
Oh, we good.
We're winning. Yeah. We're smiling. We didn't pay you in 4 years, so they gave their tribute bread to Egypt.
And it shows that I skipped the consequence.
No, they thought they skipped.
No, I'm saying, but this is year 2.
Mm-hmm.
There's no consequence for me breaking this counsel.
It's year 3. They gave Babylon 3 years of sequel. Don't forget, 609 is when they started paying out Egypt. 609 and 605. 4 years with Egypt. Then it was 3 years with Babylon. After that third year, they tried their luck. It didn't work out. But once again, they didn't see the consequence of that decision in 602 until 598. 3 years. Three plus years before they felt the brunt of that bad decision. Anyway, let's go back to 18 and 11. Jeremiah.
Jeremiah chapter 18 and verse 11. Now therefore, go to, speak to the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, saying, Thus saith the Most High, Behold, I frame evil against you, and devise a device against you. Return ye now, every one from his evil way, and make your ways and your doing good.
The crazy thing is this. Hindsight's 20/20. We can see it now and say, man, that was a bad choice by Jehoiakim. But you don't know. You can't see it. And we don't see a situation. The Most High is forcing us to make a humble decision. Because it takes humility to say, you know what? I think there's a way out of this. but I'm going to choose obedience. That's how the Most High can test where your heart is at. We read in chapter 11 of Jeremiah how the Most High tries the reins of the heart. He tries the reins of the heart by providing a dilemma in a situation to you, to give you the option to think, maybe I can take matters into my own hands to get what I want, or am I just going to humbly submit to the direction that the Most High is trying to drive me? That's the choice He's forcing us to take, one way or the other. You don't know how I'm going to get you, but I am going to get you. Do you trust me enough to know that if you do it your way, I'm going to break you? And do you trust me enough to know that if you're obedient, I'll take care of you? And that the punishment won't be as long as you think it's going to be. Then you got to ask yourself this. If Egypt is right next door to me in Philistia, and in Philistia, they are vassals to Egypt, maybe in my head, if I rebel against Nico in Egypt, maybe they'll come take me over. Maybe if I rebel against Egypt and I keep paying Babylon, maybe the Egyptians will come take us over and we'll be vassals to Egypt. Maybe that's a concern. I'm pretty sure that would be a thought too. Because they were not going to get around serving. Maybe they thought if we cut off our payments to Babylon and pay Egypt, that keeps Egypt off our back instead of keeping Babylon off our back. That could be something also. Point is, they did everything but follow the will of the Heavenly Father. Keep going.
And that came from Jeremiah.
Yeah.
Jeremiah was telling what to do, how it should be done. But you're
right. Yeah.
But on paper, like what you're saying, well, we go with Egypt, we got this. If we go with Babylon, we got this. On paper, this looks good, even though there's a prophet saying, do it this way.
Yep.
Go this way.
Mm-hmm.
But now on paper, I think we'll go this way instead of.
And I got other prophets saying, you're doing it right, Jehoiakim.
Do it.
You all for it. Go. That's what I'm saying. It's your birthday. No, besides. Boy, they're sitting back here and rooting him on. So you got a bunch of yes men. You got prophets agreeing with you. And you got this one dude that keeps giving you bad news, right? And they kept trying to stifle that one guy. Anyway, it kept getting worse and worse for Jeremiah because everybody started encircling him, saying, "Dude, why are you rocking a boat? You're rocking a boat based upon our little idolatry conspiracy here. Now you're rocking the boat on our geopolitical direction we're taking. Every direction we're taking, you keep rocking the boat, not seeing it was the Most High rocking the boat." Let's keep going. Verse 12.
Verse 12. And they said, there is no hope, but we will walk after our own devices.
So they said, there's no hope. Listen, instead of saying, damn, let me just change my way. Instead of saying, let me change, they say, there's no way I'm going to change. To say that there's no hope, you're also saying, I don't got it in me to change that much. This is the scary thing about letting negative riding you for extended periods of time and not facing battles when you have the chance and the focus to do it. Because I don't know if you know this yet. Some brothers are younger in here. If you choose to neglect one problem, this is an experience call. I'm not saying this is law, but I've experienced this in my life. The Most High puts us in position to face this battle. If we overcome this battle, the lesson you learn from overcoming this battle equips you to face the next thing that's coming in your life. Then you take the lesson you learn from this experience to overcome this next experience that's in front of you. And if you can overcome these two experiences, the lessons you learn from those two experiences,
compound.
You need that to learn the third lesson that's coming up, the third battle that you're going to be embarking on. The problem with our people We skipped the first lesson. Now we go to this. The second lesson is still waiting for you. The second step is still there. If you neglect the second one, the requirements to change are still there, but now they're compounded. Because now you have to change 2, 3, or 4 things in your spirit to get yourself where you need to be. That's when it gets overwhelming. That's when you tell yourself there's no hope. I got 4 or 5 things I got to fix in my spirit to be on point.
And that's after.
Then as I'm in F this, I can't do it. I don't got it in me.
But that's after focusing on shortcuts. And the shortcuts are the distraction.
Well, the shortcuts is why you skipped 2 or 3 of the steps. But then when you realize how far behind you are, then you're overwhelmed. Then you're stressed out. Then you got anxiety. Then you lose confidence. Then you're not sure if you can do this. Then when a person feels that fear, then I just stick to what I'm strong at. To neutralize the fears that have compounded. So when those fears compound, then there's no hope. So when there's no hope, the next decision is we will walk after our own devices. We're going to do what works for me. Yes, I?
All right. Oh, so because then that person that may be a vessel for the lesson that you skipped, we attack the person because it's really your approach me with a lesson that I never wanted to face.
Done. And then you get cornered after a while. And then when you're cornered, then your response is there's no hope. And then it's like, man, you know what? Then you say, man, forget it. I'm just going to focus on what I know how to do. That's how you that's self-soothing. That's self-soothing.
It's better than feeling completely unstable.
Because that's what people don't want to feel.
That feeling of instability and that
feeling of being just naked.
Yeah.
I'm just exposed. Everybody knows that I'm weak.
And
everybody knows that I'm lacking. So instead of being unclothed that way, let me just stick to my own devices and stay in my strength. I can protect myself that way. So yes, you can look at it and say, oh, that's wicked. That's the wicked man. That wicked man said there's no hope. There's no hope, so I'm going to walk into my own devices. But that happens every day in Israel. That happens every damn day in Israel. It's more normal than you think. It's easier to walk after your own devices than sit back here and face the real you every day. Real you is ugly. Yes, sir.
That's that shit, we all gonna die one day mentality, you know what I'm saying? Ain't no hope. I mean,
well, yeah,
I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing.
Well, I wouldn't go into we're only gonna die. We're all gonna die one day, because that mindset is more like you'll get in Wisdom of Solomon 2. Like, we're all gonna die, so let's go break the law and be wicked. I think it's more like when there's no hope, it's when a person is overwhelmed with too many things that they got to fix out. Too much. Listen, don't forget, there is a reason that Josiah did everything right. Established reforms across the board amongst all of Israel, and that still didn't buy us time. Normally a guy like him would establish reforms, would have bought us 50 to 100 more years. But the damage that was done from King Manasseh and all the wickedness that stayed in us we were too far gone.
Because
in order for us to get back right, it would have took too many familial changes. We were multiple generations into our filth. It was Manasseh, and it was the seed after that. And when Josiah was in power, they just kept it quiet. But the people weren't reformed. The leadership wasn't reformed. Yeah, they were busting down doors looking for physical idols, but their heart wasn't right. Jeremiah told us that in Jeremiah 11. Jeremiah 11 was during Josiah's time. They were still doing wickedness. They just kept it quiet. Think about it. Any other great king with the works that they did would have bought us time. But the nation wasn't so. They just shut up. Josiah was a strong king. He wasn't taking no, you know what. So everybody got to fade back and operate little secret meetings. But after Josiah died, it was like everything just sped up times 10.
Back to normal.
It backed them on the wickedness side, but it sped up the decay of the nation, sped up. Because the Most High knew the heart. Listen, in Jeremiah it talks about the reason I'm going to destroy you guys is what Manasseh did. We read that like 3 or 4 weeks ago. Manasseh's effect stuck into the heart of the people. And just because Josiah did good works didn't change what was inside the people. So now there was generations of wickedness. And now Jeremiah is saying you got to change and reform. Change and reform. The setup's here. The people's response is there's no hope. I'm too deep in the game. I'm too far deep in my way. I gotta stop serving Baal. I gotta teach all my family and kids to come off Baal. I gotta sit back and get my grandfather out of this way. My whole house, we're too deep in the game.
It's a Baal house.
My kids are following Baal. We've doubled down. There's no turning back. So let me just stick to my way and see how it goes. You have a question, Simon?
I was like, so you can still have physical outward good works, but still have inward unresolved outlook issues.
No doubt. Yes, sir?
Would that be where Christ was talking about the Sadducees?
Yep.
That we make the outside, the surface is white on the outside, but inside is full of dead and bones.
And that's exactly what Christ was saying. That's what Jeremiah was saying. On the outside, we can play the role, we can present that we love the Most High. We have these long phalangeries, but inside, we have dead men's bones, man. If we got the bodies, people that we've done wrong, we've taken advantage of people, we've constructed the law. Don't forget, by the time Christ came on the scene, the Talmud was already getting written, man. The Talmud was getting written and starting to get compiled around 200 BC. Now they had started all that wickedness once we got to Babylon, but it started getting compiled in 200 BC. They were already starting to follow the ways of how the priests operated and the loopholes that were created from the experiences of rabbis or priests, more than following the scriptures himself. This is why Christ kept sitting back here and saying, listen, man, don't call no man father. He was trying to get people to stop locking in to these men who kept making up their opinions about how the word was versus sticking to the purity of the word. Because that was already running rampant. The opinions of leadership superseded the purity of the word.
And based on tradition.
That's what it is.
I was like, this got my mind going, so I appreciate the class. So, from what you was also just talking about, when a man doesn't face his battles, and that stuff starts to pile up, would you also relate that to the white assembly? Because on the outside, I'm making everything look good and everything, but because I haven't worked on this in myself, I haven't worked on that on the inside, I got all this filth. But I'm working so much on making sure the outside's good, but on the inside, I got no hope.
Yep.
I can't see where this is going because I haven't worked on those things I should have been working on from jump.
No doubt.
Can I say this too? And
No doubt.
A lot of this is because we just have a natural surface approach to problems. We're liars, and we say that we're doing all we can, like we say every week, right? We say every week we say we're doing all we can. I know it, right? I just look at the diet. Oh, you know, I ate salad today, so I'm doing really good. You have like 10 years of filth in your stomach. You have a whole bunch of. I'm talking about me. I've never done a colon cleanse in my life, ever. I might start juicing pretty soon. That's another day.
Why are you talking like what you're about to do, man? I'm fixing to take drinks and herbs
every day until I lock in and do it.
Listen, you capping. That's not talk.
But
you do it on the mic, you got to do it. If you say it on the mic, you got to be doing it by
I got the
now.
bottles right here. I got the bottles right here. I'm not capping. I got the bottles. I'm serious.
Did you hear the like?
I got the bottles. I made my mind up. But
Oh my gosh.
but the issue is we wait until the vitality of a connection is broken. Wait till the vitality of our thinking, our inner thinking is damaged, and then when we're behind the ball, where it's almost impossible, now it's time to put a fight in. Israel procrastinates. Either we procrastinate or we're surface. And we can break that, but we have to actually be deliberate. And I always believe that we can break battles with honesty.
But you know what? It's honesty, and it's everyday commitment.
Yeah.
I mean, always, who's that guy that you talk about? He always says he puts his heart into it.
I know that dude.
It's vexing. He's lifting weights, and he's like, he throws the barbells in the air and he catches it. He throws it and he catches it like this.
Spins it in the
And
air.
I'm like, listen, that's a capping ass dude. I said, first of all, you're gonna jack your back up doing that act. You can't sustain working out like that.
I put my heart.
But you gotta sit back here. You're singing songs. You're doing stupid. I'm like, listen, bro, you're gonna get hurt. You have a workout high. You're on a high, so now you're doing it. Then you're not gonna stick to that approach, Jack. That's how Israel is also. We're going these highs and lows. We just can't commit every day and be okay. Because the solution to these overwhelming issues is a little bit of change every day.
Yeah.
Can you change a little bit every day? Wow. And can you commit to, instead of, Israel wants to do, you know what Israel wants? They want to do this big, phenomenal thing, and everything's better after that. That's not how you see results. You see results by being the same guy every day. The same new man every day. But when it comes to us in the spirit of change, we're bipolar. We're high. Jesus! And then I don't want to give a shit. I ain't reading no Bible. I'm not eating a salad. And I'm going to tell you about, because you know what our battles are.
Yeah.
Listen, it can't be burgers Monday through Sunday. And then it's salads. Then it's, I want arugula and parsley. That's it. And oregano. And give me all the oils, all the awesome oils for 3 days. Then I break down. Then I'm back eating chicken and fries the next couple days. That's Israelite. That's us. I don't know why. I always got mucus in my system. I do. It's a very simple question. Because the idea of eating right every day is not appealing. The idea of working out a little bit every day is not appealing. The idea of, okay, I want to get back on this treadmill, but I can only run one lap and then walk one lap.
It's embarrassing.
Run one lap and then walk one lap. And I'm like this. Well, I'm on the treadmill doing this, like those Edomites that walk the mall a lot. You know, there's no shame in that. Can I do it every day? Can I sit back here and work on my core every day for as long as I can? And can I be okay with a little commitment every day until I can do a little more commitment every day? And then a little more after that. Because but the problem is that in our mind takes forever to get to. So because it's going to take forever for me to get to that point, I'm just going to stick to my old way.
Or just buy a new shirt and buy some athletic shoes and buy some windbreakers. That's what Israel does. That's that. Israel.
Buy windbreakers?
Yeah. Israel wants to put on athletic clothes, but not actually be healthy. So it's that surface approach to a real problem. I'm about to have congestive heart failure, but you see me in a Nautica outfit. Or no, I use in something modern.
Nautica.
That's Nautica.
That's awesome. Is that even a brand anymore?
Yeah, I'm still down with that. New Balance. I bought a new Balance windbreaker. I bought New Balance. The whole. I got the jean. I got the outfit on, and I got the New Balance shoes. So now I'm gonna start working out. I'm gonna start doing this. Or I bought a new vitamin that I'm not gonna take.
Or we'll focus on something that we're good at. Or we'll focus on something that we're naturally strong at. Because that's what Israel likes to do.
God. But the solution that we choose, because remember there's two solutions. There's the counsel, spiritual solution that sucks, that you don't want to do, that's uncomfortable, that you get no joy out of because there's no carnal pleasure in it. And then there's the quick stimulation route, the instant gratification choice.
Right.
And guess what? Egypt was instant gratification.
Because they already had a relationship with them. It was an easier play than pure submission. Because you know what the crazy thing is this. Listen, what Jeremiah was saying, because we're going to get there. You know what? We'll get there in a little bit. I promise you. Let's read verse 11 and 12 again in Jeremiah. We'll get there. Because there's plenty of chapters here to get to, bro. Plenty of them.
18 to 12.
18 verse 11 through 12. We're going to go to 23, but I want you to start at 11.
Come. Jeremiah chapter 18 and verse 11. Now therefore, go to, speak to the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, saying, Thus saith the Most High, Behold, I frame evil against you.
So initially, in Jeremiah 11, he went to Anathoth in his hometown, and he went at the Benjamites and the Levites there, and they wanted to kill him. Now we're here. He says, now go to Judah and Jerusalem and deliver this message about how the Most High has a frame and a setup against you. Read on.
Come. And devise a device against you. Return ye now, everyone from his evil way, and make your ways and your doings good. And they said,
Hold on.
Hope.
So he said, return to me and make your ways and your doings good. That's the hope. He gave us hope. The hope has changed, and I'll be there for you. But what was their response in verse 12?
And they said, there is no hope.
There is no hope. But the hope is in the change. Yes, sir?
I'm sorry. So, like the scripture you quoted earlier, so that would be the escape that the Most High provides. That no matter what we're going through, He will provide an escape, or in this case, the hope. Do it this way, and I got you. But we're like, no, I can't say that's going to happen. I can't say that's going to work. But He does provide that escape.
The escape is if you just change a little bit every day, you'll get what you need. Listen, even the idea of faith. People think faith is huge. You just need a little faith to change. You need a little faith. Can there be and that's why he explains faith as a mustard seed. It's a little. It's not this big, large thing that we expect. The problem, we look at our problems like they're this mountainous. They're like Mount Everest. We look at what's inside of us as this unfazable, unfixable, unchangeable circumstances. But the hope is, can I just take one step a day? We try to overcome weakness with one fell swoop. And then we sit back here and we get discouraged. The hope is in, hey, every day can I self-correct? If these men were concerned about the example that they laid with their families at home, then you know what? If it was idolatry that they showed their family, then every day, don't show them that example anymore. Every day, make adjustments. Every day, be a little bit better than you once were. The crazy thing is this. The Most High gave Israel 11 years before the first major fall happened. 609 all the way to 598. Then he gave us another 11 years before he broke us again. He gave us time to make small changes a little bit every day. But we kept lying to ourselves saying, I don't have enough time. This is too hard. This can't be done. But he's giving us all the time we need. Listen, everybody wants to talk about, I can't wait till Christ comes back. We might want to revise that. Because he's given us time to fix us. You know, they say the war in Ukraine is called the war of attrition. The war of attrition is a war, it's a slow war. It's a slow grind out war. And you look at it like, man, when's this Armageddon going to come, man? Let's get these nukes going. Get out of here. My answer is, let this attrition thing go and take the time it needs to take, because it's going to buy me more time to break the negative in me. Woe to those people who say the day of the Lord. Listen, we better wait and slow things. Hopefully the Most High can give us time to fix what's in us. And if we're going to do things the right way, can we sit back here and just chip away at the flaws one day at a time? That is so important. Okay, let's continue. Verse 12.
And they said, there is no hope, but we will walk after our own devices.
Because our own devices we're comfortable with. We're comfortable with our way. Read on.
And we will everyone do the imagination of his evil heart.
Read on.
Therefore, thus saith the Most High, ask ye now among the heathen, who have heard such things. The Virgin of Israel have done a very horrible thing.
When it says the Virgin of Israel, at that particular time, Jerusalem hadn't been broken, hadn't been violated, hadn't been destroyed. So Israel done a very horrible thing. Read on.
Will a man leave the snow of Lebanon, which cometh from the rock of the field? Or shall the cold flowing waters that come from another place be forsaken?
Mm-hmm.
Because my people have forgotten me, they have burned incense to vanity.
Hold on a second. Read verse 14 again.
Jeremiah chapter 18 and verse 14. Will a man leave the snow of Lebanon, which cometh from the rock of the field?
Listen, when it says, when a man leave the snow of Lebanon, which cometh from the rock of the field. Read on.
Or shall the cold flowing waters that come from another place be forsaken?
So the Most High is like, why is Israel, this virgin daughter, running from their stability? Running from a constant power in their life. Why would anybody, especially in those times, leave a water source? Why would you not want to be around a water source? Listen, if I'm in the country, think about country living. You want to build a house near a water source. You don't want to be landlocked. That's the worst thing in the damn world, is to be landlocked and not around running water that you can tap into. What you gonna say?
This is pure water too.
I know.
The snow, and then it's also filtered by the rock.
That's the thing. That's the thing. That's exactly what it is. And that's stability. That's what you want to build your city around. Is water. That was what made Jerusalem so appealing. It was in the middle of nowhere, but it had its own water source. Its own filtered water source. That's a gold mine. But he's like, why is Israel leaving their stability for instability or instability? Read on. 12, verse 15.
Verse 15. Because my people have forgotten me. They have burned incense to vanity, and they have caused them to stumble in their ways from the ancient paths.
So not only are they stumbled, they're teaching and pushing other people to stumble. You know another reason why Israel said there's no hope? Because their pride is out of this world. How many people have the humility to own up to their faults? How many people are humble and say, man, I messed up here. I was wrong in what I counseled you. I was wrong in my example. I was a piss poor leader. I got to fix it. I respect what Dariel was saying about the fruits and vegetables. You know, I was clowning him a little bit. If you don't talk about juice, and I'm juicing this, and I'm going to do this today. If you don't talk it, it ain't going to happen. I'm not saying talking is the end, but if you don't talk and initiate, this is going to happen, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this next, and I'm going to do this next, then if you don't think it, you won't do it. So the beginning is to communicate it, to visualize it. Then the next step is actually do the performance of it. But he said that's why people say there's no hope. Because I'm not giving up my image. I'm not going to look bad in front of the nation for nobody. I'd rather die with my secrets and weaknesses than to admit my vulnerabilities. But in doing that, we're also neglecting our stability, our spiritual stability. We're forfeiting our spiritual stability because we don't want to look bad. We don't want to look deficient. So I'll be secretly deficient versus outwardly deficient with a hope that I can change and be better. That is the Israelite condition.
And that's why the outsides are white,
Yep.
but the insides are filled with the dead bones.
Mm-hmm.
Why is there dead bones? There's no flesh, there's no sinews, there's no strength.
Mm-hmm.
There's dryness. Why is there dryness? Because I'm not watered. I'm not cleansed. When things aren't watered and clean, they dry out. So our spirit, or our internal condition, is our internal condition purified. When I say purified, I'm talking about, are we cleaning the internal mind? Are we cleaning the internal emotional sentiment we carry? That internal emotional sentiment that we carry at 2, 3, 4 in the morning, that's the real person. Now the next day is about, what am I going to do minute to minute, hour to hour, or just what is my spiritual objective for the next day to make sure I go contrary to that negative momentum. What am I doing to be contrary to the negative momentum that I already have going on in my life?
Listen, I got to pull this verse. This is Elisha. I pulled this. This is a good one, man. Ecclesiasticus 17, verse 24 and 25. Ecclesiasticus 17, verse 24 and 25. This is the hope that the Most High was giving us when he was giving us that chance to turn away from the setup that he already had planned for us. Read that.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 17 and verse 24. But unto them that repent, he granted them return.
Listen, if you repent, he gives you return. It's not a, the thing is, we're so focused on how big the repentance is, how magnificent it is. He just said, just change your course and go the opposite course. And he says, if you change your course, he will grant your return. Read on.
And comforted those that failed in patience.
And he said, you know what? And he says he comforts those. And when you make that change, you make that turn, and you start going opposite of your nature, because that's really where the challenge is. We're all born with strengths that we naturally have inside, and we're also born with things that negative, that's just in our nature and in our spirit. And change is about, can I sit back here and commit to going against my nature? And he says, when you go against your nature and return to him, he comforts those that failed in patience. He comforts us that slip and aren't perfect in our return back to him. Read on.
Return unto the Most High and forsake thy sins. Make thy prayer before his face and offend less.
Did he say don't ever offend again? He said offend less. So the hope is when I start going against my nature, there will still be offenses. But can I continue to dedicate my life to offending less than I used to offend? Can I put up a fight? That's what we don't even want to do. We don't even want to put up a fight. Can we sit back here, change course, and offend less than what we have offended in the past? That's all the Most High is asking Israel. But what is it? There's no hope. There is hope. He's just trying to get us to curve and self-correct. Most of us aren't going to make the change that King Manasseh did, where he made a whole 360-degree turn. Can I make a 270-degree turn? Can I be a little better than what I once was? And then can I gradually tighten up my position over time? He's given us the antidote. But, we got to stop being in our head and telling ourselves what we can't do and be humble enough to look weak to make the adjustment necessary so I can offend less. Because Israel always says we're too far gone. Yeah. That's how we think. Yeah. He's like, man, just offend less than you have. Like I said, man, that's a hell of a verse because it really ties in to where this is at. Continuing in Jeremiah 18 and verse 21, verse 15, sir, I'm sorry.
Jeremiah chapter 18 and verse 15. Because my people have forgotten me. They have burned incense to vanity, and they have caused them to stumble in their ways from the ancient paths, to walk in paths in a way not cast up.
And when it says, we walk in paths that are not proven, a path that's not cast up is a path that's not proven. We follow unproven ways more than the tried and true ways the Most High has given us, or the tried and true ways of men whose example has to precede you. This is why if a brother can sit back here and his diet is right and how he eats is right, why don't you follow that example? That's a proven way. No, I got it, dog. That might work for you, but it ain't me. Listen, that is called pride. Because if there's a tried and true way, why don't we follow it? It's not even one men that can study don't want to follow. The men that can't study don't want to follow the men's ways that are tried and true that work for them. But then they're flabbergasted. How come I can't retain the scriptures? Well, then whose pattern are you following so you can grow? Same thing over in the house, dealing with children. Whatever it is. Follow the way that's cast up. Read verse 16.
To make their land desolate and a perpetual hissing. Everyone that passeth thereby shall be astonished and wag his head.
The prophecy is that the once virgin Israel that was untouched, unsullied, will be the object of hissing, disrespect, is going to be desolate. Read on.
I will scatter them as with an east wind before the enemy. I will shew them the back and not the face.
When the Most High shows us his back, that means he turns his back from us. And the way he turns his back from us is that he takes us out of his sight. His sight is in Israel. His sight is in Israel. When he turns his back, that means he removes us from his sight. He did the same thing in the northern kingdom in 2 Kings 17, removing us out of his sight. We know his literal sight is everywhere, but his sight is fixated on Jerusalem, on Israel. So he removes us from his holy city. Read on.
I will show them the back and not the face in the day of their calamity. Then said they, come and let us devise devices against Jeremiah.
Now they're sitting back here, and now they got to devise more devices against Jeremiah. And it's the second time the fix is in. The second time Jeremiah is cutting them and not giving them excuses to feed their negative. Now they want to set up more plots to assassinate Jeremiah. It's just constant. They want to kill Jeremiah in the land of Benjamin. Now they want to kill Jeremiah in Jerusalem. Read on.
For the law shall not perish from the priest, nor counsel from the wise, nor the word from the prophet. Come, and let us smite him with the tongue, and let us not give heed to any of his words.
So they said, let us smite him with the tongue. How do you smite a person with the tongue? You verbally attack him.
Slander.
You slander his name. You discredit him. You discredit him. We got to find a way to make this guy look like he's dog you know what in front of everybody else. Yes, sir.
Should try to bring out all his flaws, and that's why I ain't got to listen to him.
Khan, huh?
Well, see, I would say if he did this, I'd listen to him, because he ain't doing this. That's why I ain't going to listen to him.
Khan.
I'm good with Khan.
And what ended up happening with Jeremiah, this is why Jeremiah later on said, I'm not teaching the word of the Most High. He was so fed up with Israel's attacks. They were discrediting his name. They were attacking his credibility. They were attacking if his message was sincere or not. They were attacking how come it hasn't happened yet. They were saying, listen, it ain't happened yet. You can't follow it if it ain't happened yet. They were doing everything they could to cancel him. That's what it's called now. We're going to cancel this guy. We're going to cancel this guy. We're going to sit back here and destroy him in front of everybody. We're going to destroy the name of Jeremiah in front of everybody. So they were trying to kill him in Anathoth, his hometown. Now he's in Jerusalem, and they're just wrecking his name. Just because he was speaking the truth about where Israel was at. Read on.
Verse 19.
They said, come. Read from the top again, verse 18.
Come. Jeremiah chapter 18, verse 18. Then said they, come, and let us divide devices against Jeremiah, for the law shall not perish from the priest.
Stop. What he's saying is this. We're not going to give up our power. He says, the law shall not perish from the priest. The law is the person who has the power and authority to ordain the law, to execute the law, to enforce the law. And like, we're not going to sit back here and let Jeremiah break us and demoralize us and cut us and chastise us and tell us we got to change. We're going to keep the preeminence over Jeremiah. We're going to keep our power and leverage over Jeremiah. So the law is not going to come from the priest. Read on.
Nor counsel from the wise, nor the word from the prophet.
He said, listen, we're keeping our power. Because there was other prophets that weren't teaching what Jeremiah was teaching. There were other counselors and people of authority that were going against Jeremiah. So these guys came together and devised a device, said we're going to keep our power and we're going to box this guy out. We're going to box him out and keep our strength and make him look like the oddball. Read on.
Come, and let us smite him with the tongue.
We're going to discredit him every step of the way, and all of us got to be uniform in how we discredit him. Read on.
And let us not give heed to any of his words.
We're not listening to nothing this guy is saying. We're going to shut him out, even though he was giving Israel the solution to their problems. So to listen to the solution, let's discredit him so we can keep our power. All that mattered to them was their power and influence, their position. Change didn't matter. You know what we showed about Israel? Change didn't matter. Their position amongst the people mattered. Their power and influence was more valuable than changing towards the Heavenly Father. How people looked at them and how they esteemed them was more important than submitting to the Heavenly Father's way. Continue.
Verse 19. Give heed to me, O Most High, and hearken to the voice of them that contend with.
So he's like, Father, please hear me out and hearken to them. He says, and hearken to the voice of them that contend with me. Read on.
Shall evil be recompensed for good?
So we're like, please listen to what they're saying. Are you going to sit back here and reward them with good? These that have evil in their heart towards me? Read on.
For they have digged a pit for my soul. Remember that I stood before thee to speak good for them, and to turn away thy wrath from them.
He said, I kept sitting back here and looking out for them. I kept praying that you had patience with them. And they sit back here and just rat me out, throw me under the bus. He was public enemy number one in the nation, in Jerusalem. He's like, how long is this going to last? The answer is damn near 11 years before the first fall happened. Then 11 more years of worse conditions after the first fall happened. They didn't believe him the first time. They didn't believe him the second time. And they doubled down. Listen, you're going to read about priests that was punching this dude and saying, listen, man, you're scaring the people. Throw this damn dude in jail. He's creating a spirit of panic in the city. Versus, and that meant put him in jail so we can keep our power. Because all that mattered was maintaining power over the masses. The masses' well-being didn't matter.
And for us, it's a sense of control.
Same thing.
Because I don't have no 10,000 people. But we have a sense of control that we defend. This is why we don't believe in councils. We don't believe councils because councils threaten our sense of control. Mm-hmm. So you're choosing between sense of control or long term.
Or humility.
Or humility. That's the real scale we're dealing with.
Yeah. This is facts. Israel rather be under control than be humble. Because listen, what people don't want to explain or accept is when you're humbled or when you're being humbled, your entire foundation is rocky. You feel unstable. When you're having to change significant things in your life, you feel off balance for an extended period of time. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah.
When you got to change, you feel weird. You feel awkward. It's like you keep using your left hand eating cereal. Who like try to eat cereal like this with your left hand? You're not grabbing it right. You know, you almost grab it like you was a kid when the elbow's all poking out like this. Because it's a weird hand. Then you got to keep doing it enough to where you can bring the elbow that you can trust. You can grab it properly with your left hand. I'm going kind of extreme, but you get my point. I don't think we're doing this anymore. But when you having to use an opposite hand, you feel weird. That's what change is.
Yeah.
And we don't want to feel that awkward, vulnerableness in our spirit. But that vulnerable feeling is the key to gaining favor with the Heavenly Father. But once again, a lot of these men during the time of Jeremiah had risen to the top. And looking weak, looking vulnerable was a sign of weakness. And they weren't going to give up their power at all. Because they were the answer men. They were the guys that gave the solutions. So I can't show people weakness. They're not going to respect me. They're not going to follow me. They're not going to sit back and come to me for advice anymore.
But at the same time, I was playing with ball. I was playing with ball.
Yeah.
I was balling out.
Yeah, the wrong ball.
The same time I was
You were balling.
I was balling. Playing with all these different little spirits. Different spirits. And now I gotta choose a side. And I already chose my side. I really invested on the wrong side.
And I'm not gonna change. I'm not gonna repent. I'm gonna double down.
Come on.
But now, part of the doubling down is I gotta discredit the one guy that hasn't. And it's also letting you know that there was a conspiracy with the other prophets. That the only way to neutralize one prophet, I got to have 10 more prophets saying he's off. All the priests got to say he's off. All the leaders and all the elites got to say he's off. So they all conspired to sit back here and shame Jeremiah. So that the people would shame Jeremiah. Read on.
Verse 21. Therefore, deliver up their children to the famine.
So listen, so Jeremiah isn't this weeping, emotional ass guy like the stories want to say. He's just a weeping prophet. He said, man, deliver up their children to the damn famine. You told me it's going to happen, then let them fall then. Jeremiah was fed up with these dudes, huh? He said, let their family, their kids feel it. Read on.
And pour out their blood by the force of the sword.
This is Jeremiah praying to the Most High to destroy these dudes. For him to get this angry and amped, what were they doing to this guy? Huh? How were they defaming him? How were they embarrassing him and defaming his name? For him to get this way. Read on.
And let their wives be bereaved of their children.
He says, man, let these women lose their kids. Let them feel that pain. Read on.
And be widows. And let their men be put to death. Let their young men be slain by the sword in battle.
It was that bad, and Israel was that wicked. And they were that devious towards Jeremiah to deserve that. Read on. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so in this prayer right here, what you're saying about the 11 years,
Mm-hmm.
so from like the time of this prayer was 11 years from the time of this prayer, that the Most High finally kind of came back?
Well, and that's the problem, and I know you've read it too. Jeremiah is all broken up. It's all broken up in different times. You'll read Zedekiah, which is the last king of Judah, in like chapter 30. You'll read some Jehoiakim in chapter 45.
Right.
Everything is jumbled up, so you don't have a timeline. It's just, you just know that this happened before the first fall. Just like Jeremiah 11, it sounds more like it was the time of Josiah. Because when it starts, if I'm not mistaken, Josiah was king, he was 20, Jeremiah was 21. So they were kind of aligned early, and then when he died, listen, Jeremiah was in jail when he was in his 60s. He was in jail about to die in his 60s. Point is, he was going 40 years of teaching, and these time periods are all messed up, so I can't put a time on if it was year 5, year 6, year 10.
It wasn't just immediate. That he sent this prayer. Right?
No doubt.
So these other priests and prophets was enjoying some type of prosperity.
Yes, everybody, they're smiling.
Yeah.
Like Dr. says, these guys are smiling. They don't feel the effects of their negativity. And Jeremiah is just suffering day in and day out, year after year.
Right.
He's getting his name, his occupation is getting dragged through the mud. All his dedication, all the work he's put into this. Think about this. He dedicated his life to teaching the word, and everybody looks at him as a sucker. The whole nation has lost respect for him. It's one thing to die a martyr. It's another to be looked upon. This is the only guy in the damn city that loved the Most High, and they all turn their back against him. That's a hell of a challenge, huh?
Is that like that? I will not slip kind of thought process.
What do you mean?
Because of the circumstances around me and the people, what they're doing, and seeing them quote unquote prospering.
Yeah.
I will not slip. Like
Okay. Yeah. 73. Yeah.
Is that like that?
Yes, but I'm gonna say this. Or the slipping part for Jeremiah is, then forget it. I'm gonna stop teaching them. That's where Jeremiah almost slipped. Then why go back to these guys? Let them fall. That was the crossroads Jeremiah had to face. Then he said, man, the word's too strong. I got to go back and do it. Even though I'm done with these guys. He was done with them because they were sitting back here and nobody was listening. And it went beyond that they weren't listening. It was an all-out campaign to discredit him. Listen, you can read later on when he was in jail that some of his people, his own kinfolk, was just trying to hustle him, huh? Listen, that had leaked out to his people. They lost respect for him. Everybody lost respect for him. So, let's continue. Jeremiah 18 and 22 and 23.
Go on. Jeremiah chapter 18 and verse 22. Let a cry be heard from their houses when thou shalt bring a troop suddenly upon them, for they have digged a pit to take me.
They've digged a pit to take me. They've sat back and set me up to fall. And he's like, Father, just see what they're doing and don't let them get away with this. Listen, to be as impassioned as it is, the Most High truly makes you wait.
Right.
He truly makes you wait to see him come through for you at the end. Listen, he had to wait damn near 20 years before he could say, I told you so. And he didn't say he told you so. He was still more concerned with helping the people that remained in Jerusalem after the majority of the people got sent back to Babylon.
So he was still experiencing all this in the defaming for 20 years?
Yes. 20 plus.
That was the new
It was 2 11-year spans, Jehoiakim and Zedekiah. And then you slide in 2 months of Jeconiah. And it was just one after another of them not listening. Now, luckily, he had a couple years with Josiah when people were locking in, at least on the outside. And inwardly they had issues. Because Jeremiah, they were just kind of secretly kind of like having their issues with Jeremiah. But then they got more bold after the great King Josiah was dead.
So he had like brief moments of reprieve?
Where they were listening.
Oh, okay.
When he first came in, they were listening. He came in at a time where Israel was on top. Idolatry was getting abandoned. So he had a little time to flourish and get strong in what he was before he got defamed for the next 22 plus years. So this smear campaign was vicious for Jeremiah to say, man, I want these guys dead. I want their families dead. Don't forget what they're doing to me. Read on.
Go from the top.
23.
Come on. Jeremiah chapter 18 and verse 23.
And they said, and he had snares for my feet. I don't know if you had got that part, 22. Yeah. But they're setting traps for him. They're setting him up to fall. Read on.
Verse 23. Yet the Most High, thou knowest all their counsel against me to slay me.
Listen, and they wanted him dead too, right? It wasn't just we're going to defame him. They're going to defame him so they can kill him, so they can justly kill him. They didn't want to make Jeremiah a martyr. So we're going to break him, we're going to defame him, then we're going to kill him. This is how bad it was. Because if you killed him and he was on point, and his image was pure,
You look bad.
you look bad. The priest looked bad. We got to stain his name before we kill him. That was the only thing that kept him alive, was that he had a good name and had respect amongst the nation from the time of Josiah. So they're like, this is where the crafty devices came in. They're like, you know what? We got to break this guy's image before we kill him.
That means it wasn't just some impulsive
Nah, bro.
move. This is when people take time and they relax and they maliciously strategize strategically against really the Most High.
Yeah.
But they'll make a person that central figure.
Yeah.
Instead of putting that same spirit,
Interchange.
strategically attacking. They attack Jeremiah a little bit every day.
Yes, yes.
They did that.
Yeah.
They had some patience.
Yeah. They did.
They had faith in
They
everything.
focused on the long game for that
And they were a long game when it came to what makes me uncomfortable. But we're short. We have short-lived stints of fight when it comes to just the basic main issues that hold us back.
Mm-hmm.
We have to reverse our thinking.
Yep. So, read verse 23 again from the top.
Con.
And after this, you're going to head out.
Get out of here.
Read that.
Jeremiah chapter 18 and verse 23. Yet the Most High,
This is yet, Lord.
yet Lord, yet Lord, thou knowest all their counsel against me to slay me. Forgive not their iniquity, neither blot out their sin from thy sight, but let them be overthrown before thee. Deal thus with them in the time of thine anger.
Okay, let that go. I'm going to sit the next man and read it. Knock out.
Nagaha, Shah Shabbatah, Ban Shemai Wan, Ban Yasha Allah.
Nagaha, Shah Shabbatah, Ban Shemai Wan, Ban Yashrala, Amajim. Yahweh Bashem Yah Shabbatah.
Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah Brakatah.
All right. We're going to do Jeremiah chapter 20. No, not 20. We're going to 19 first. 19 verse 11 through 15. Hang on a second. Jeremiah 19 verse 11 through 15. Yeah, read that.
Jeremiah chapter 19, verse 11. And shall say unto them, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, even so will I break this people and this city, as one breaketh a potter's vessel, that cannot be made whole again, and they shall bury them in Tophet. Will there be no place, till there be no place to bury.
Listen, Tophet is a very important spot. Look for Tophet in the 1828 real quick. Because Tophet was a major hub and a major place where they committed idolatry. Where Israel committed idolatry at. And the specific idolatry was the sacrificing of children.
Tophet, 1828 dictionary.
This is why when Josiah was in power, Josiah broke down all the altars of Tophet. Because that was the major hub where Molech was being, the serving of Molech was, when they was killing children and beating the drums all super loud to drown the children's screams. It's going to tell you, read it.
Tophet. Definition. Hell, so called from a place east of Jerusalem where children were burnt to Moloch and where drums were used to drown their cries.
Listen, and the messed up thing is, Josiah broke down the temples. And what they did is they took the temples and they broke down on the materials and put them at the river so it could just flow out. Well, they sat back and rebuilt it after Josiah died.
And fought back.
Listen, and that was, and I'm not going to say it's the exact close same place, but it was. If it was east of Jerusalem, guess what else was east of Jerusalem? It was where Solomon had all those idols in that mountainous place. I don't know if y'all remember when we went into it, but Solomon put all those idol temples at a higher mount than the mountain Jerusalem.
Right.
So you can sit back here from Jerusalem and see the idolatry down the mountain further down the ways. It was that?
So is that the high places? When the
Yes.
talking about the high places?
Yes.
Wow.
That was those were one of the sets of the high places. When Solomon did it, you're in Jerusalem serving the Most High. You looking over here, and then you turn around. Oh, this is where Solomon did his idolatry for Kamash and all those idols. It was in a higher setup than Jerusalem, higher hill. Anyway, that was just a little tidbit. But Tophet was in the same direction. So they're sitting back here. Now we hold that and we go back to verse 11 in Jeremiah 19.
Okay. Jeremiah 19 and 11. And shall say unto them, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, Even so will I break this people and this city, as one breaketh a potter's vessel, that cannot be made whole again, and they shall bury them in Tophet.
I'm going to bury y'all in the place where you're killing these children. I'm going to bury y'all in Jerusalem in the same place you're burying babies and burn these kids to the idol Molech. That's why he said, I'm going to bury y'all in Tophet. He said, man, I know what you're doing, so you're still killing children to Molech, but acting like you're serving me. Read on.
Verse 12. Thus will I do unto this place, saith the Most High, and to the inhabitants thereof, and even make this city as Tophet.
Mm-hmm.
And the houses of Jerusalem and the houses of the kings of Judah shall be defiled as the place of Tophet.
Golly, bro. Read on.
Because of all the houses upon whose roofs they have burned incense unto all the hosts of heaven, and have poured out drink offerings unto other gods.
Like we said in other times, with Israel, it got to the point at this particular time that there are high places with their roofs.
Yep.
Israel had flat roofs. They didn't have those Mediterranean style angled joints. They were flat roofs, and Israel would serve their idols on top of their roofs. If you didn't have the money to go out there and do your altars in high places, the highest place Israel had in the city was on their roofs. He said, I'm gonna make Jerusalem like Tophet, which was known for killing children. I'm gonna make it like Jerusalem because of what you're doing in Israel, in Jerusalem. Read on.
Verse 14. Then came Jeremiah from Tophet, whither the Most High had sent him to prophesy. And he stood in the court of the Most High's house.
So then he went right back to the court of Jerusalem and started going at these guys again. This was public enemy number one. You tell me these guys didn't sit back here and try to put hands on Jeremiah, shake him up? He was constantly rattling these dudes, huh?
In Tophet.
Listen, now he was in Tophet, then he went down to Jerusalem in the court. The court listen, that is the perfect street speaking zone. I don't care what nobody say that. The court of the Lord, because the court is right in front of where the priests are on the altar doing their sacrifices. So the priests hear it, the people hear it. You just got to get a little soapbox, get you a little elevated platform out, and you can go at it. You go to Israel all damn day long.
Well, everybody can hear it.
Everybody can hear it. That is the perfect place to street teach at. That's crazy. And he's just going at after just rows and rows of people. Because they're in line. I don't know if you saw the old temples and how they set up. Herod's was larger and more put together. But they're in line, bro. There was a little pathway you went up until you got your turn. Then they come down. So everybody's hearing Jeremiah drop it while you're in line waiting to kill and sacrifice your animals. You have a lot to think about that. You have a lot to think about while Jeremiah is just dropping on you guys. This is crazy. And these priests are sitting back here smiling and they're slow, brother. They're killing animals and they hearing these guys saying, stop serving Baal. You know you're serving Baal, priest. You know these guys they're feeling crunchy. They want this man dead. This guy's messing it up for everybody. He really is. And the funny thing is, the king's area ain't too far. It's right below the temple. Mm-hmm. So he can hear it too. He can hear the commotion. All you just go outside. You can hear it. Everybody can hear it.
Oh, so they still got the.
What's that?
So I got last one on here. So in Proverbs, when it says, go to the highways and byways, that's what that was then.
Yes.
And cry to them, how long you simple ones, we love simplicity.
Yeah.
Those highways and byways in Jerusalem, was it going up to?
It was the pathway where everybody can hear it.
Wow.
He's right here. You can't run from me. You can't run from it. Every day I'm going to go to the court and I'm going to drop it on Israel while they're waiting.
And then also the sacrifice and offerings was how these priests were eating.
Yeah.
So if they get out of the line because they don't want to hear, you're affecting my family eating it.
But listen, they got to do their job for the save face. I'm the priest, so I'm saving face. And I'm sitting here smiling. I'm killing animals, and I'm getting cut all day. I'm getting cut all day. That's why these priests. I got to kill this guy. I got to kill this man. This has got to go. I'm not doing this every day. They were being discomforted too. Every day I'm hearing how we're going to die, and he's comparing what we're doing with Tophet. He's saying Most High is going to destroy y'all like he's destroyed Tophet. And everybody knows what was going on in Tophet. Everybody knows they heard it. They know what that is. And they know what Tophet's about. And they're comparing what's about to happen in Jerusalem with what's happened in Tophet over the different time periods. He's like, Tophet's going to happen to y'all because what you guys do on your housetops or what you guys do behind closed doors, you know what you're doing, priest. Bro. They're just asking for it. They're asking. Jeremiah's asking for a tough time. And he had to keep being that much more bold and obstinate for righteousness' sake, despite him knowing that they're trying to kill him and defame him. This is crazy. But let's where we at?
Verse 14. Jeremiah chapter 19, verse 14. Then came Jeremiah from Tophet, whither the Most High had sent him to prophesy. And he stood in the court of the Lord's house and said to all the people, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the power of Israel, Behold, I will bring upon this city and upon all her towns all the evil that I have pronounced against it, because they have hardened their necks, that they might not hear my words.
Can you imagine the response of these people when they're hearing this? You telling me there wasn't violent altercations? They weren't some back and forth. You know how Israel gets out.
Right.
I remember back in the beach times, Israel wants to go to the beach and smile, and they want to enjoy the water, and they want to enjoy the what do you call it, the skateboarding and all that stuff. They want to, they want to enjoy the two Judite brothers that kept jumping and flying in the air and doing little pirouettes And then you got these prophets talking about how the world's going to fall apart and America's going to die. And then all of a sudden, guys get angry out. They came there to relax out, and then they're pissed off because you're going at them. Then the arguments kick in out. Then the hostilities ramp up. It always turned up around 3 or 4 o'clock out.
Yeah.
It always would just get all rah! It's hot outside. Everybody's getting frustrated. Listen, I can imagine Jeremiah going through that as he's teaching these dudes that don't want to hear that the sky's falling. They don't want to hear that. They want to relax. Who wants to hear that, man, Babylon's coming to destroy us and wipe y'all out? You got to go home and be like, man, is he right? Or Babylon, are they coming to get us? Man, when are they going to come? Damn it. You just messed my whole weekend up. What's that?
Quick question now. I'm asking, because I haven't studied this, so I'm asking you
Yeah.
this. So, was Baruch with Jeremiah
Yes.
during this time? So it was like when Christ said the disciples up 2 by 2,
Mm-hmm.
that it was Jeremiah obviously by himself against damn near the whole priesthood, but he having just that one person with him that they would go out there and probably do this together.
They probably did because it doesn't. The first time I read about Jeremiah, Baruch was in Jeremiah 36.
Okay, all right.
And it goes in when they're starting to compile these scriptures and these prophecies that they sent to Jehoiakim. But I would imagine he's with them before that, getting studied up and taught and mentored and tutored into the whole process. Even with Jeremiah, they said Jeremiah was mentored by Zechariah.
Mm.
They said Zechariah mentored Jeremiah and showed him the process.
Damn.
So I'm 80% sure it was Zechariah. Yeah, Zechariah that mentored Jeremiah. So I would imagine Jeremiah was mentoring Baruch
Yeah,
before he had his time. So yeah, he's out there 2-2 going at these guys.
Damn.
But they knew they had to break the credible source, which was still Jeremiah.
Yeah.
They had to break him. But can you imagine? The people knew that Babylon was going to be their downfall. They didn't want to hear it. They chose to just block it out. Like, I'm not hearing this.
Welfare.
You don't want to bring in a sacrifice to the altar. I hope Jeremiah's ass ain't there today, man. Shit, man. I hope let me get there early so I can beat Jeremiah. Let me get there at 7 a.m. So I can beat Jeremiah. Hopefully I can get there before he gets there. I don't want to hear this today.
You didn't get out.
But listen.
This is a great class, but it's for this. But damn, it's got me reflecting right now on Abba Bivens with Ariel. Ariel was 13 years old out there street teaching with Abba Bivens in New Jersey and New York.
Wow.
The Muslims, they wound up killing Bivens for doing something similar.
Yeah.
Y'all are off. Yeah, this is wrong. They literally killed him for that. So I'm just reflecting on how Mosai requires that which is past. That a lot of the stuff keeps siphoning down.
Kinda, and they sat back and conspired to get him first.
Kinda.
And then it was the hatred, the anger. You're showing me up. You're making me look bad.
Yeah.
Let me discredit you. You're messing my money up. Now he's going to have to find a way to kill you. And this is what constantly is happening. And Jeremiah is like, bro, and if he's like, Father, I'm doing your will. Don't forget these dudes. But don't forget in Jeremiah 1, the Most High said, Jeremiah 1 and it's like the end of
You're not afraid? Or?
well it's really verse 16 down. Is 1 and well listen 18. No, 17. Read verse 17. 1 and 17 through 19.
Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 17. Thou therefore gird up thy loins.
He said, get your mind right. Get your spiritual constitution right. Because you know your loins is your strength. Is your power. Is your constitution. Read on.
Gird up thy loins, and arise, and speak unto them all that I command thee. Be not dismayed at their faces, lest I confound thee before them.
When he says, don't be dismayed at their faces, is it their faces or is it their devices? It's not their faces. He's not saying don't be afraid of how they look at you. He's like, don't be afraid of all the maneuvers they're going to maneuver against you. The problem is Jeremiah just didn't know to the extent of how bad it was going to be.
And for how long?
And for how long? Because everybody can sit back. I can avoid a little suffering. When that suffering is like this,
5 years later, 6 years later.
yeah. And you're like, what the hell's going on here? And these guys are smiling. They're in their robes. They have purple on. The people love them. There is no war. There is no fighting. Then you get a report that Egypt beat Babylon. Like, what the hell's going on here, man? Everything's good. The Levant is stabilized. Listen, we're like thirsty-ass Israelites watching about Russia. Is the bomb going to happen next? Is the war escalating? And like, no, everything's cool. Everything's under control. Russia's got it under control. Because listen, the news is almost like, what's his name? Ukraine got like a couple more weeks. And they're gonna be tapped out. All their forces, they haven't even got through the gray zone. There's a gray zone of defense, then there's a first line of defense, then there's a second line of defense, then there's a third line of defense. They haven't gotten through the gray zone, which is the least occupied of all the zones. They're not gonna get to the second line of defense. So you say, man, like they're not even getting close to winning. Then they're saying, okay, the Russians are going to do a counteroffensive after this. It's like, well, this is taking long as hell. Is it going to happen? And then if it happens, the United States looks like they're just cool with letting Ukraine They said they were mad at the Ukrainians. They said the Ukrainians are averse to casualties. And this is disappointing from the American perspective. What they're saying is Ukrainians are the people, they're running from losing hundreds of thousands of more
They
people.
don't want to keep dying.
Well, listen, they're already at 400K.
Right.
They've lost 400,000 men in war. And I don't know if you've seen, like, the warriors, the Ukrainian warriors to the left. Listen, I'm not knocking nobody. These guys got, like, gray hair, bro. They got pot bellies. Like, how much can these guys do, bro? They got pot bellies. And I'm not knocking pot bellies. My shit ain't tight. What am I saying? Soldiers are supposed to be what?
Young men.
Young, fit, energetic.
Strapping.
And these guys got gray hair, bro. Their hairlines here out. These guys' hairlines is here, bro.
George Popovich.
They're shit like that, like this. Slava Ukraine. Like, dude, you're 60 and you're out here shooting guns.
Got to.
Your heart rate is on fleek. You're not gonna make it, B. What are you doing? You gotta run. You gotta keep this pace up.
You don't live that model.
Like, I do this. I give up. I give up. This is what's happening.
Yeah, great Popovich. My bad.
I'm like, what's going on here, right? And these are the guys that gotta fight for you.
Yeah.
You've already lost your best men. So you got 400 dead, and they always said the ratio was 3-to-1 KIA to injured. So if it's 400 dead, you're at 1.2 that can't go back to work because they're injured. 1.2 million that are down from being injured. Bro, listen, I watched some videos of people where they got some shell attacks and the paramedics came in and the guy had like his arm got severed, this arm was jacked up, both of his legs were jacked up, and they had to put these stents on their arm to stop the bleeding. But when you're putting it was like a stent where they just kept turning it like this. You're cutting all the circulation. You gotta cut the arm off.
Yeah.
He did that here. He did here on his right leg. He did it on his left arm. Like, bro, you're like this, right? With one leg. And another guy next to him, his whole bottom of his mouth was blown off. The guy that was getting tourniquet, he was like, "Kill me, brother, kill me, kill me." And that was real. He wasn't saying it like he was BSing, like, man, I'm done, man. And the guy that says, "No, I no kill you. I will get you right and you can die later." I was like, well, first of all, that's crazy talk. But that's war, bro. There's another guy, I told you about it, how they're sitting back here putting cameras on, seeing how the fighting is, and you don't even know where these bullets are coming from. All you know is this choo, 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 choo.
You can't see what direction they're
and it's hitting. You know what's coming from here. You don't know where. You're just shooting at trees and green. And this guy tries to go from one tree line to another tree line for shelter, and he gets popped. And he had that death gurgle. I'm like, bro, this sucks. This sucks. And they're trying to sit back here and send men into places where these guys have leverage and position. And they say the only way you can cover ground like that is if you have air cover. If you don't have air cover, you can have all the tanks in the world. It ain't going to work. They have no air cover, and they have no air defense. They have no air defense and no air cover. So no planes and no way to sit back and take these bombs out the sky. Especially with the new war they got. The problem is this is what Russia's doing. They'll send a hypersonic missile, and they'll send drones in the air. So the drones and the missiles, it scrambles the frequency of the little air defense they have. So they don't know if to attack the drone or to attack the missile. The drone moves, boom, the bomb is right behind it. Listen, Ukraine is sitting ducks. And they're just...
And this is what the help with NATO still?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because NATO's giving them all the supplies, but that nobody has real air supplies. And then the HIMARS, the stuff that they said was air defense, Russia been blowing it up. They've been blowing the air defense up. Russia's made sure we're not going to blow up Kiev and the cities and the people, but they'll bring all these weapons and put it in storage. Then they'll blow up the storage units.
Yep.
They said we got to just separate the units so they don't blow them all.
They had the little reserve places. And
it's either that or the military people are selling their shit in the black market to make money. Yeah, there was some guy, I keep saying it, there was some guy that was in charge of defense. And he's riding around with gold spinners out on a Corvette out.
literal.
And white niggas out. And this is what it is, out. They had a little red Corvette with gold spinners. He's selling stuff in the black market out to hook himself up. It's the most corrupt country of Europe, they say. That's where the sex trafficking is at an all-time high. The organ theft is at an all-time high in Ukraine. Sex trafficking. You name it, the corruption is there in Ukraine.
If I can ask, did they take out the Wagner leader?
He's dead. Well, they say he's dead. If he's dead, I think the CIA took him out. Because they gave him money to do a job he didn't do.
Right, exactly.
So I think that's what happened. Anyway, let's continue. So where are we at? Did we finish Jeremiah 1?
We just read 17.
Okay, so don't be dismayed at their faces. That means their devices and what they plan to do to counterbalance what Jeremiah is saying to them. Don't use that because that's a waste. You still got stuff back there. You still got stuff back there.
Oh, right here.
In that bag. Yeah, read on.
Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 18.
So he says, hold on.
Okay.
He says,
17.
be not dismayed at their faces, lest I confound thee before them. So what he's saying is, if you back down to them, then I'm going to break you in front of them.
I'm gonna get your ass.
I'm going to get you and confound you in front of them if you cower to their position. Listen, Most High is no joke, God. He's, I'm going to confound you if you break to them. So who do you fear more? That's what the Most High is saying. Who are you going to fear more? My wrath or their wrath? This is what we got to remind ourselves. Who do we fear more? The Most High getting us? Or what some fleshly people going to do to us? All of us who want to serve the Most High, that's a real question we got to ask ourselves. You go remember? I don't know about my parents used to say back in the day, if you get your ass whipped, don't come on. I'm whip your ass worse than them whipping your ass.
Yeah.
You better fight harder. You better finish that damn battle. Because if you don't, you gonna get it double here.
It's a long walk.
This is the Most High though. That's the spirit the Most High got for us. Like, either you face that battle, or I'm gonna whip your ass when you get here. I'm gonna make it worse.
That's a hard walk.
Kinda.
You gotta go to the bully hut.
Yeah, I'm ready to fight. Just put him up. Listen, you better just steal on him out and see what happens. You can't give him a chance to get you first.
Yeah, throw something out.
You better do something. You better do something.
It's a real story.
I know, and it's scary. What do you fear the most? This is where the Most High is like. This is the intro. Either you come. This is chapter 1. Listen, you better sit back and deal with them, while I'm gonna deal with you.
Right.
Because I chose you to do this. Most High is no joke. Read on, man.
Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 18. For behold, I have made thee this day a defense city, and an iron pillar, and brazen walls against the whole land.
Man, he's like, you're going to represent strength, even though nobody else wants to be that way. And they're going to be there. They're going to be strong in their way. I made you to be adamant against them. You're going to be, listen, as much as they're making your life miserable, you're going to make their life miserable by constantly teaching my message. And that's going to constantly discomfort them and weaken them and have to consider what I am trying to tell you. But this is not a light matter. Read on.
An iron pillar and brazen walls against the whole land. against the kings of Judah, against the princes thereof.
And these princes and kings,
Right.
read on.
They got armies.
I know, and they have power. They have all the power to break you. It ain't like these guys don't have power. And like I've talked about weeks before, the princes had more power than the king half the time. The princes had the leverage over the kings. They had the political power where they can sit back and manipulate the kings how they wanted them to. Just like now. Just like now, you think Biden is running the strings when this nigga's sleeping in all these damn meetings and shit at? You ever see him? He's like this,
Yeah.
and he's just sleeping. Like, what's this guy sleeping every 5 minutes? Or he'll sit back here. He's giving handshakes to invisible people. Yeah. This the promise is there. This, and he will do the motion. Like, why are you doing this? It's like you gotta bring his double out and do the talking out. Because there's one guy that talks right, and his ears are like the lobe protrudes. Then the other Biden his lobe is tight. You ever notice that? Like, there's two different Bidens out there. I don't even notice that. There's one guy that talks fine.
They got the deep fake mask.
Yeah, and then there's another guy that sits back here and can barely walk. He's falling up Air Force One. He's busting his ass. Like, what are you doing, Then the other guy, he's spry. He give you a little this, give you a little that, give you a little country talk. Boy, you better use him all the time, That other Biden, that number one Biden is trash, bro. He's making the country look bad. How about that? Point is, the guys behind him are making the power moves. They're the ones sitting back here who are the buttons are being pushed by even a higher position person, but they're the ones running the country. Just like the princes were running the country back then. It wasn't just like Josiah and Hezekiah. They were just holy men. They weren't just these holy pansies, Hezekiah and Josiah were dogs that wasn't taking no shit by anybody under them. That's the facts. Whereas guys like Zedekiah and Jehoiakim, they were getting pushed and manipulated by the princely leadership. I always go back to Jehoash when he was king, and his father figured out was a priest that lived like 120 died. Then the princes came in and got in his head, and the princes convinced Joash to sit back and serve idols. That is how they get you in their pocket, and they were doing it here also. So he's like, listen, Jeremiah, you got to be a brazen wall against these kings, these princes, these priests. Read on.
Against the priests thereof, and against the people of the land.
He's like, you're going to have to be that one voice of strength, even though everybody wants to run from the truth. Wow. And that is a lonely, depressing path to take. To be hated, and you know they can't stand your guts, and they make it known that they can't stand your guts. And listen, they can't stay. They know they can't stand you, and they're plotting to take you down. They're looking for a reason to get you. Just like Christ, it was the same thing.
Right.
Let's keep going.
Verse 19. And they shall fight against thee, but they shall not prevail against thee.
That means you're going to take losses, Jeremiah. You're going to take in a fight, you're going to get punched. You're going to suffer damage in a fight. It ain't like the TV, right? Those one punch guys, pah, 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 and you don't get no touches on you. That's not going to happen, You're going to get bruised. You're going to get bruised and damaged, but they're not going to obtain the victory. But now Jeremiah is in the thick of it in chapter 19, and he's realizing how difficult it is and how much leverage and how much they're using it to break him out.
So they prevail. So it ultimately means to succeed.
Yeah.
So you're going to go through it, but they're just not going to have the ultimate victory.
But they'll have a lot of many victories. There are many victories. Yeah, there's a lot of. Listen, you might have won the war, but you lost a lot of battles. There's a lot of battles you're going to lose.
It's exhausting.
I know this.
This is exhausting when you're always in the position of having to resist people.
Brother, I know. Hell yeah. So listen, let that. Are we done with that?
Okay.
Okay, let that go and go back to Now we're going to go to Jeremiah 20, verse 1 through
Chapter
18.
20.
Jeremiah chapter 20, verse 1 through 18.
And apologies, just say the liberty. I didn't read those things.
That's fine. That's fine.
1 through 15.
Now, what we're going to do is, this Pashur is a different Pashur that you read in Jeremiah 21. And this is why I'm not going to go 21, because 21 deals with the Pashur. And first of all, Pashur was a name that was an Egyptian name that was given to them. Pashur is Egyptian. That's not Hebrew. Okay? Now, the Pashur in 21 is not, the Pashur in 21 was the priest that was under Zedekiah, which happened after 597. Pashur in 20 was the Pashur that was before King Zedekiah. That's why we're going over this time period now. There was multiple Pashurs that was given Jeremiah, none but hell. Okay? So read verse 1 in chapter 20.
Jeremiah chapter 20, verse 1. Now Pashur, the son of Immer, the priest.
So how we know this? We're going to reach 21 and verse 1 real quick.
Okay. Jeremiah chapter 21, verse 1.
So the 20 and 1 is the son of Immer, the priest. Read 21 and 1.
Jeremiah 21 and 1. The word which came unto Jeremiah from the Lord, when King Zedekiah sent unto him Pashur, the son of
Melchiah. So there's two different Pashurs because their fathers were different.
Right.
Okay? So now we jump back to verse 1 in chapter 20. Just want to make sure we understood that there was a difference in Pashurs. That's why you can't read this like it's like a novel, man, or from 1 to 30 or 1 to 50, 51, because it just doesn't flow that way. Yes, sis.
I'm sorry, can you repeat where you just read that from? I was trying to.
It was Jeremiah 21 and 1 is where we read about Pashur, which was the son of Melchiah, I think.
21 and 20.
21 and 1 was the other Pashur during Zedekiah's time. 20 and 1 was a Pashur before Zedekiah's time. Okay? Read 20 and 1 again.
Jeremiah chapter 20, verse 1. Now Pashur, the son of Immer, the priest, who was also chief governor in the house of the Most High.
So this priest was the one that ran the house of the Lord. He was the chief governor that ran the house of the Lord. Read on.
Heard that Jeremiah prophesied these things.
So listen. He heard that Jeremiah was just busting everybody out at the court. He was just sitting back
front of
here.
everybody.
He was on them annually, like Pac said. He's at everybody. The priest's neck, the prophet's neck, the prince's neck, the king's neck. So listen, this is past the smear campaigns. This is past the defaming of Jeremiah.
And he doubled down about their children too.
And he's saying your children are going to die, all y'all are going to die, and you're going to die the deaths of idolatrous baby killers. This is what he's saying. You're going to die the deaths of idolatrous baby killers. Which means he's saying that y'all are baby killers and y'all serve Molech. So Pashur is hearing this. And read verse 2.
Verse 2. Then Pashur smote Jeremiah the prophet.
So now listen, now they're putting hands on him, man. You think it was one guy that just put hands on him?
No, that's right.
Listen, like Paul. I think it was Acts 21. I think, I'm not going there, but actually they was putting hands on Paul, right? When he was in the, after he did what the priest told him to do, when he went back to Jerusalem,
Right.
he went in the temple, and then the mob, when he came out, the mob came at him and beat his tail.
Some of the purification.
Yeah, after he did the purification with the other men.
Yeah.
He came out and they beat him.
Right.
Pashur beat him, and his goons beat him. Just like Christ got beat. So listen, Pashur smote Jeremiah the prophet. Read on.
Then Pashur smote Jeremiah the prophet and put him in the stocks.
I mean, they put him in jail, like. They put him in jail. Read on.
That were in the high gate of Benjamin, which was by the house of the Most High.
Listen, not only did they take him out of Jerusalem, they take him out of Jerusalem and send him to Benjamin land, to his hometown. Why? Why did they do? Because they had stocks in Israel. In Jerusalem, they had stocks in jails in Jerusalem. They wanted him away from Jerusalem by any means necessary. They had a RICO case on him. We're going to send him back to Benjamin land for your crimes, We're going to extradite you and send you back to Benjamin land, Because that's where the crime started. Read on.
Verse 3. And it came to pass on the morrow that Pashur brought forth Jeremiah out of the stocks. Then said Jeremiah unto him, the Most High hath not called thy name.
Stop. No, you're fine. I'm not angry. It says, and it came to pass on the morrow that Pashur brought forth Jeremiah out of the stocks. So this is an escalation. We're escalating the leverage and the heat that the priests are starting to put on Jeremiah. Jeremiah 11, they were sitting back here talking about devising ways to kill him. But it was just in the communication stage. Then we got to Jeremiah 18. Then they were sitting back here and said, before we kill him, we got to think this out. We got to defame him. We have to break him. We have to break the image of Jeremiah before we kill him.
So they don't look bad.
So they don't look bad. Right. So then Jeremiah is just doubling down and teaching in the house of the Lord and embarrassing everybody even more.
In public.
So now they be like, okay, now we got to throw him in jail, rough him up a little bit, and then give him a deal. See if he takes the deal. We're going to rough him up, shake him up, and then see if he wants to play ball with us and shut his mouth. This is why they only had him in for a day and brought him out. Okay? Read on.
Verse 3. And it came to pass on the morrow that Pashur brought forth Jeremiah out of the stocks. Then said Jeremiah unto him, the Most High hath not called thy name Pashur, but Magor Misabib.
Let's try to see if Magor Mishabib. That's a derogatory name. I hope I can find. Shoot, it's not here. Matter of fact, let me try another one. Let me try another way. We gotta see what this means. And get your popcorn ready. I read this one out. Jeremiah 20.
Oh, I got it.
And verse 3.
I got it.
I know. I just want to see if I got it. What do you got on yours?
It says terror on every side.
Yeah, a fright from everywhere. It's because mine says a fright from around. Meaning, what most times like, man, listen, there's gonna be terror around you. Everywhere you go, you don't know where you're gonna get hit. You don't know where the blow is coming. This is what he's saying. Terror is all around you because Most High got his finger on you. Wherever you step, it could be your last step. Remember that? I don't know if you ever saw. This is an old movie. You remember Marked for Death Act? It was an old movie with No, Sylvester Stallone when he was on point. And remember when he was getting the bad guy? He was about to get the bad guy. He wrote it in red ink. The anticipation of death.
Right.
It's worse than death itself. Like, like, oh no, he's about to die. We don't know how he's gonna die. Listen, the funny thing is, this is what the Most High is saying about Pashur.
Okay.
You're about to get destroyed. You just don't know how it's coming. You don't know what corner you're about to turn when you're about to have it. That's what he's saying right here, right?
Paranoia.
That's the point. The fear. Most High, I'm putting fear in you now. Because you know what? He's sitting, Most High is responding to the fear tactic that Pashur is doing on Jeremiah. Pashur is sitting back here and saying, okay, I'm going to throw this dude in the clink. I'm going to throw him in the jail and make him think about what he's doing. Most High, like, okay, I'm going to make you think about what you're doing next.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit back here and make you sit back here and say, how am I going to get killed? How much sleep are you going to get the next day?
But Jeremiah still had to get beaten.
Hell yeah!
He still get threatened. He still had to be thrown in jail.
Yes!
For doing the right thing.
Con! Before the Most High defends you. It's almost like you got to be on point to set the stage to break the wicked person. You got to be blameless so the Most High can show the wicked person that they're wicked. So he can sit back and eventually break them for being off. But the righteous person has to be the tool that they have to go through what they got to go through for the other person to be shown their way.
That's hard.
It's no different than Manasseh. Manasseh had to sit back and kill prophets, kill Isaiah, do all this wickedness to see that it was him. So that when he's sitting back here and he's getting captured and sent by Ashurbanipal to Babylon, and he's in the stocks. Now you got to think about all the negative he did to the priest. And that is what brought him down low.
It's hard not to defend yourself, though.
Listen,
You getting
all that karate was for nothing, man. All that karate. The karate was to be held in your back pocket. Was that?
For him to start in chapter 1,
Yeah.
I'm telling you what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And if you get weak, I'm going to really get your ass.
I'm gonna make it worse for you.
But so you got to have that God. Good Lord.
Think about this. We read it last week when they surrounded him, was ready to throw him in jail and kill him before. Because listen, I think this happened before the one we went into last week when they surrounded him and the priest that knew his father, Shaphan, got him off the hook. Because, or it could be, I don't know, maybe not. Point is this is the second time he was facing jail time. The first time, they had him hemmed up, and Shaphan got him off the hook. That was probably before. This time, now, he's in jail. And now the intimidation, because you can see it's like a natural...
It's a crescendo.
It's a natural escalation. So, I forgot the chapter we actually went into last week. I think it was it 16? Or 20 something. I think it was 23. No, it was 23 or something. That talked about, matter of fact, I think I got it right here. Give me 1 second. I kind of want to, we're not going to go into that chapter, but I want to kind of like, for the record, kind of
So I'm beaten.
just show the progressive path. It was Jeremiah 22. No. It was Jeremiah 26. It was Jeremiah 26 we read. Yeah. Jeremiah 26 we went into last week when they had him cornered and he was teaching in the court again. And then Shaphan and them convinced the priest to let him go because in the past there was a precedent of other priests that let the prophets go when they were prophesying in the name of the Lord. But that was before this, because he was about to go to jail and let him go.
Right.
Now they're here. They had to snatch him up. They put him in the clinks to intimidate him, and they brought him out. And they thought when they brought him out of jail, there was going to be compliance. You're going to sit back here and listen to what we're saying, or we're going to throw you back in jail.
I don't know rations either.
It was no water and bread, bro. It was when they finally jailed Jeremiah down the line, they gave him a piece of bread. I ain't even going to what else he had to go through because that was when that was a crescendo of his battle line. But now he's in jail. The intimidation tactic is in, and Jeremiah doubles down and says, "You think you're gonna put the pressure on me? The Most High is putting the pressure on you." That's phenomenal.
One thing to see this is we're reading these chapters that we're going through right now, but this is still years.
Kinda.
This ain't just like boom, 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 boom. This is a process of time that he's going through. Just a constant attack on his mind.
Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Why do I keep going through? Why do I keep? I'm a glutton for punishment. I keep going and doing this and getting attacked year after year after year, and I'm not getting anything for it. I'm not getting confirmations. I'm not getting rewards. I'm not getting anything for this beratement. I'm constantly attacked for doing the right thing. Hated. Public enemy number one. And there's no, hey, you're doing it the right way. You're doing right.
No appreciation.
Con. No thank you. Don't the waters.
And then it also doesn't look like the person that's experiencing it is like, man, God must not be with that person.
That's the point.
To a shallow person.
The Most High ain't with him because he's not coming up.
All these prophets, all these priests, the king, the governor, everybody's talking bad about him, so it must be true.
Listen, these prophets are coming up. How come this prophet ain't coming up? Because that's the one the Most High is with. So the Most High, read the last sentence in verse 3.
In part of verse 3. The Most High hath not called thy name Pashur, but Magor Misabib.
Magor Misabib is the destruction's right around the corner, right? Terror is right around the corner. Read on.
Verse 4. For thus saith the Lord, behold, I will make thee a terror to thyself.
Shit, bro.
And that's
to
what people
all- I'm sorry.
God. Oh, people, listen, all that native spewing towards him is going to come back.
Yes,
It's going to
bro.
wash back home. Like Malcolm said, he said, chickens come home to roost.
Yeah.
It's the same spirit.
Yep. All that negative and that plotting.
Yeah.
Listen, while you're plotting on Jeremiah, I'm plotting on you. How about that? I'm plotting on you. All that deceivableness and these angles you're trying to break this man. I'm plotting on you the same way.
Same way.
The terror is coming right behind you, bro. Read on.
I will make thee a terror to thyself and to all thy friends.
And the people that you're with, all the people that's confederate with you, your family. Read on.
And they shall fall by the sword of their enemies.
He says the enemies are going to destroy them and you. For all the things you're plotting, I got nations plotting on you. The nations are ready to come out and bust you up. Listen, Jeremiah, the Babylonians say, okay, yeah, the Chaldeans, we need you guys to come down here. We're going to take these guys out. You know, when they set up sieges, a lot of times they do sieges either right before the winter comes or right after the spring, right when the spring kicks in, so they can and then what they do is, okay, when we do this siege, we need this much grain, we need this much water,
Yeah.
we need this much supplies to weather this storm. How long is it going to take for us to break these walls? And they're sitting back here and planning on how they're going to invade Jerusalem.
How many men they got to bring?
How many? Exactly. So listen, and also, before they take Jerusalem, what do? They also take the supplies of the neighboring cities that are not defensed. That's why every time you read about Israel, the king of Jerusalem will get scared after Lachish fell. Because Lachish was a minor city that was fortified too. The other cities were kind of exposed. Lachish had defensible walls. So when Lachish fell, the next city that was going to fall was Jerusalem. And all the Jews would get scared when Lachish would fall. So they're sitting back here and planning out how they're going to take these minor cities, rob them of their supplies, to get ready for the long game that's going to take to get Israel in their walls, because they know Israel had a water supply. So they had to wait a little longer to break them. They had to wait till the food runs out. They always took, because if you had a city that didn't have water, you can break them quicker.
Right.
But you got a water supply, they can last longer. So they're plotting on them like you're plotting on Jeremiah. And that's how the Most High was breaking us.
Got to count the costs off.
Kind of across the board. Read on.
And they shall fall by the sword of their enemies, and thine eyes shall behold it.
And you're gonna see your family getting taken out. You're gonna see your kids killed. You're gonna see your children, your daughters getting ravished.
He's going to make sure that you have a traumatic experience behind the negativity, the long-standing, long-term negativity.
And in the back of your mind, you're gonna say, "Man, I did this. I helped bring about this fall."
And he told me the truth.
Kinda. And I should have sat back here and supported this message.
Yep.
Maybe my children wouldn't have felt this.
I should let go of ball for my kids.
But all you cared about was your image and how people looked at you. But what good is that now when you're in chains, walking to Babylon?
With nothing. With nothing. You're going to Babylon.
No
with
pride,
nothing.
no ego. All that's done, bro. You're nothing now. Read on.
That's what happens when the priests, as far as the priests in Israel, were sitting here being loyal to other gods.
Yep.
That loyalty to other gods didn't.
Where are those gods now?
Didn't pan out.
Where are those other gods now? Nowhere. Anyway, let's continue.
Huh?
I hope people online are listening, man. I mean, I know we're not just. I didn't want to just rush into the fall. I want to make sure we saw why the Most High finally said enough is enough, man. Enough is enough. I'm done with it. Most High had been pleading with us for years, and we just don't want to listen. Let's continue.
And I will give all Judah into the hand of the king of Babylon, and he shall carry them captive into Babylon, and shall slay them with the sword. Moreover, I will deliver all the strength of this city, and all the labors thereof, and all the precious things thereof.
And the strength was the nobles, right? The
Well, I'm gonna say this.
The mines.
There was two major waves in 598. December of 598 is when Nebuchadnezzar came first. And they took all the princes and the nobility of Israel and sent them to Jerusalem. Sent them to Babylon. And then they put Jeconiah, which was Jehoiakim's son, into power. By the time they got to April of next year, they came back. And they took Jeconiah along with, that was the crew. First of all, the first crew that came out in December of 598 was Daniel and the princes and nobles. They were the first ones. And in 597, that following year, in April, they came back and they took Jeconiah. You read in the Josephus, he repented. Nebuchadnezzar repented of bringing Jeconiah in power because of how dirty he did Jehoiakim. There's different reports about how Jehoiakim died. But one of the reports is that they took him and threw him over the wall. And they just embarrassed him and defamed him. And they put his son over. And then by the time Nebuchadnezzar got back to Babylon, he says, man, that's not going to work out, man. His son's going to come and want retribution. So we got to break him in April. As soon as the snow falls over, we're going to come to Jeconiah and bring him back too. And when they came back the second time, they brought the second wave of laborers and quality men. And that was when Ezekiel got sent over to Babylon. Because you'll read in Ezekiel where he says he came during the time of Jeconiah. When Jeconiah came, Ezekiel and the other level of priests and leadership and quality men were sent over. By the time we got to the last men, when Zedekiah got elevated as king, it was the low level of society that was left in the city.
Just the residue of the people.
Just the residue. And then when Zedekiah and them fell, they just left farmers to farm the land.
Wow.
To make sure that you can send that product back to Babylon. So even when Babylon took them over in 586, they left the residue just to work the land and to work the farm. We'll go into that later. But he was systematically just breaking us down. And we just couldn't listen. We didn't want to hear the points. But we just didn't want to own up to the scenarios. So where are we at?
Verse 5.
Verse 5. Read that.
Moreover, I will deliver all the strength of this city, and all the labors thereof, and all the precious things thereof.
So, we'll go on to this later. By the time that Nebuchadnezzar came around December of 598, we're going to tie in that Jeremiah took the ark then. Because you never hear any story about the ark being taken. But a lot of the precious items in the temple was taken the first time. And that was in December of 598. So the Most High must have told Jeremiah to get it out earlier before that time happened. So they took out all the precious items of the temple the first go around. Then they came back and relooted everything else the second time around in 597 in the spring. And there was nothing much left after that time.
Verse 598.
Yeah. Okay. Is that?
So what was 586?
586 is when they finished them off and they burnt the city down.
That's when they actually burnt the city down.
Yes, but they were salvaging and they were taking out all the valuable items in 598 and 597.
Okay.
Then it was completely finished off in 586.
Gotcha. All right. Okay.
So let's continue.
And all the precious things thereof, and all the treasures of the kings of Judah will I give into the hand of their enemies, which shall spoil them, and take them, and carry them to Babylon.
Okay.
And thou, Pashur, and all that dwell in thine house, shall go into captivity. And thou shalt come to Babylon, and there thou shalt die, and shalt be buried there, thou and all thy friends, to whom thou hast prophesied lies.
The crazy thing is, he said that right after coming out of jail. You know what most people will be saying? You got to use wisdom, man.
Yeah.
You're not using wisdom, Jeremiah. You got to sit back here and agree with thine adversary quickly, That ain't what Jeremiah did. He doubled down and said, man, you're about to fall. You're about to fall. And the Most High told me to tell you this. You're gonna die in Babylon with your friends. Everybody that you're clicked up with, that you conspire with to break me down and to stifle the word, you're dying. This is crazy, But keep going,
Come. Verse 7. O Lord, thou hast deceived me, and I was deceived. Thou art stronger than I, and hast prevailed. I am in derision daily. Everyone mocketh.
So you know what? Pastor didn't want to hear it. Pastor sat back here, whatever happened, and dismissed him. But think about this. What ends up happening? Listen, everybody don't get the benefit of being Donald Trump. Listen, I don't know if y'all know, Donald Trump's mugshots out there, and everybody's loving it. It went viral as hell. Listen, Donald Trump's been off Twitter for like three or 4 years. All of a sudden, he put his mugshot on Twitter, and he said, "Never surrender." And everybody's going crazy.
He's like Pop.
He's like Pop.
He's like Pop.
He's like this. Yeah, he like that.
Wow.
First of all, he's lying on his bio saying he's 6'3", 215.
Yeah.
He's lying like a mug. There's no way he's 215. He's like 265 and he knows it. He's lying. Anyway.
Still in shape, thug life.
He's like, never surrender. And he's blowing up, huh? But most people that go to jail and they look at you, what are people saying? Mosiah ain't with him.
Of course.
Mosiah stinging him, man.
Yep.
He's got out of jail. He's all dirty. He got a dirty ass white T-shirt on out. He had a wife beater. Listen. When you get arrested, you're getting arrested when you got these nasty ass shorts on out. You ain't got no socks on out.
You get those slippers.
But that's my point. My point is, when you get arrested, you're getting arrested when you're uncomfortable. You don't got the right clothes on out. And you come out when you're in process, you're like, this dude is whack, bro. He had a dingy, holy ass wife beater rock. Like then Spirit ain't with him. Jeremiah must be messing up. Look, he came out of jail. He looking bad.
Right.
So this is where Jeremiah is at. He's responding to what Pashur said. Pashur got stung, but he still got to deal with the weight of being just come out of jail, and the shame that comes with that.
Yeah.
So now he's saying in verse 7, man, I guess where Jeremiah said he was deceived. He was deceived in the notion that if you stand up for what's right, people are going to lock in and follow, and that you get protected. You get protected from any type of danger and hurt when you do the right thing. That's where Jeremiah is saying, you deceived me. I thought I was doing the right thing and I was going to be protected and looked after for doing the right thing.
In chapter 1, you said you're going to be with me.
God, I'm going to be with you. But now, is this me being with me? I'm coming out of jail. Everybody's looking at me like this.
I'm bloody.
Because I'm bloody. I got a black eye. I got a busted lip. Exactly. I forgot about the beatings. It ain't like this. Stop it, Jeremiah. Stop it. It ain't like that. They put them beans on him, right?
These are Debos.
He's getting innocent. They're putting goon squads on him, right? Pastor might have slapped him like Prince, but there had some guys that came in and got him, right? Because once you get in jail, they're gonna get you too.
Yeah.
There was this blogger, Gonzalo Leroy, that had been talking a lot of crap about the Ukrainian government, but he was living in Ukraine. And the Ukrainian SBU was like a high, they're just like, there's a division of the SBU of Ukraine that just goes after anybody that talks about the Ukrainian government.
Oh, wow.
So this is the second time he got arrested. He went dark. I follow him. He went dark for like 3 months. Nobody knew where he was. And then he got out of jail. He had a month before his retrial comes up. He knew he was going to jail, so he tried to leave the country and go to Hungary. I don't think he made it. But before he explained, he went online and live. He showed all the documents online. He said, when I was in jail, the SBU didn't beat me. But they hired goons in jail to break his ribs, bust him up out. He got extorted for $70,000 out. And he got his tail kicked. He said, I got a heart condition, man. I got to get out of the country. They gave me my passport back. I got to make a run at it. Because if not, I'm gonna go to a labor camp for the rest of my life for 10 years.
That's the worst.
Yeah, I got a bad heart. I'm not gonna make it. So I got to take a chance to go to Hungary. My point is when you got in jail, they hire goons to beat him. They hire goons to bust him up.
Yeah.
So you don't know what the hell is happening with him. He's in jail. What Pashur and them had other men do to him. So he's beat up. He's shook. Now the message that he delivered to Pashur after getting out of jail was strong as hell. It was potent what he said. That terror is on your side right around the corner. But after you sit back here, listen, after you drop a dope class and drop a nice little prophecy, when you get home and your body's throbbing, your mouth is sore, you're bruised up, you're like, damn, bro, this is what I got to go through to deliver the Most High's word? You deceived me. I didn't see it going down like this. I thought I was going to sit back and get into a couple of arguments for Christ's sake and go home unscathed. What Jeremiah had to accept is that you're gonna come out of here damaged. You're gonna have to feel it for setting up for what's right. You're not gonna just sit back here and talk about the white man with no repercussions. Especially, listen, I'm not trying to scare nobody. Do you think we're gonna be unscathed when this stuff really tightens up?
Not Matthew 24, no.
Listen, we're not gonna be unscathed. There will be martyrs. And it's going to be beyond just this cancel culture. You're canceled. Even though that sucks. Because certain people that are canceled, the banks send you letters and say, you got to get your money out of this bank account. We cannot do business with you. That's how you get canceled. We're going to cut your money off. We're going to cut your access to loans, access to operating. You can't sit back and operate PayPal, Cash App, Zelle. They all cut you off. So how do you function? All these people online that were teaching and not teaching, but had political platforms, they cut them off. They can't get money. They cut him off. This guy Scott Ritter, he got cut off of YouTube just like last week. They just cut you off. Now all of a sudden you can't make money from what you're doing. Now you're broke. Listen, but that cancel culture is nothing compared to what we're going to face when we're teaching. And when this kingdom is really on its way down, and if we're commissioned to sit back here and get this word out, you don't think we're going to be getting snatched up? This guy, Gonzalo Lira, after that little message he brought out, nobody knows where he's at. The guy's life is over, bro. He's in jail. He's going to be in a work camp, and that's life, and that's it, bro. And they're like, what about free speech? Man, listen, F your free speech. Listen, the free speech matters until it doesn't. Until it gets in the way of the narrative that they're trying to establish in their country. And that's coming here. When everything gets bad here, it's going to come here too. So now Jeremiah is sitting back here. He responded strong. He responded the way you were supposed to coming out of jail. Read verse 7 again.
Jeremiah chapter 20, verse 7. O Lord, thou hast deceived me.
You know what this means? You know how many people sit back here, and sisters say it too. I didn't know marriage was supposed to be like this. I didn't know this is what the truth really meant. Nobody told me. When the person says nobody told me what I had to go through, that's me saying I was deceived. I didn't know what I was going to have to, the extent of what I was going to have to go through to please the Heavenly Father. Nobody can tell me, nobody told me all these things I was going to have to sacrifice and give up in serving the Most High. That comes off then like I was being deceived. Because nobody told me how deep this rabbit hole was going to go. Am I right or wrong?
100%.
This is what Jeremiah said. Nobody told you to tell me that I had to go through this to please, for to be happy with you, for me to please you. This is what we tell ourselves when we go through shit we ain't never expected we have to go through. Losses, suffering, dedication,
Inconvenience.
commitment, constant inconvenience. I didn't know it was going to be this hard. Read on.
O Lord, thou hast deceived me, and I was deceived.
I was deceived. I took the cheese. I took the spiritual path, and you know what? I didn't realize it was this hard. That's no different than what John says, where it says, I consumed this word. It was sweet as honey, but then when it got to my belly, it was bitter as hell. I didn't realize how much suffering I would have to go through in the name of Yahushua. And he says, I was deceived. Read on.
Thou art stronger than I.
But then, you know, he resented it and said, man, you're stronger than me. I'm going to do it your way anyway. Read on.
And hast prevailed.
The beautiful thing is, this is him venting. This is him showing frustration, but it was still in order. It was still an ordered vent. It was still a respectful vent. And that's a message for us to even learn. Men and women, you can vent, but can you maintain your respect while you're venting? Can you stay in order while you're venting? Can you stay in order through your frustration? This is what Jeremiah did. He's giving us the template of how to operate when you're disappointed. Obviously, Jeremiah was disappointed, but how he handled it was top notch. Read on.
And has prevailed.
He says, you prevailed. You won. Because I'm not going nowhere. When he says you prevailed, you're going to get what you want. Because I'm not going nowhere. Because you know, when we're angry, when we're frustrated, the option is always to get out. The option is always to back away.
Yeah.
He said, man, I was deceived, but you won. It's going to be your way. I will give in. But I'm just letting you know I didn't expect this, and I'm catching hell, and this is hard. But thy will be done like Christ said. What you going to say?
Backing away is also giving into your emotions.
Yeah.
Giving your mind to the anger. And just letting that overcome every other sensible thought.
But he didn't. First of all, he sat back here and doubled down and took the strong approach with Pashur. And after that was settled, he had time to process things. He owned up that this was frustrating, but he didn't sit back here and back off the vow he made to the Heavenly Father. Read on.
I am in derision daily.
He said, I am in derision. Let's look up derision real quick. I am in derision daily.
Life always in danger.
Life sucks. I know that's what derision means.
Derision. I guess number
one is fine.
No. The act of laughing at in contempt.
These are people are sitting back here and clowning me and dissing me and disrespecting me, looking down at me.
Every day.
Every day looking upon like I'm the fool. Like I'm the idiot. Everybody else is at peace. Everybody's happy but you. What's your problem? Are you okay, brother? People trying to counsel you to shake you, get you looking at things right. I'm telling you, once you get thrown in jail out, you got a mug shut out, everybody looks at you as the wicked guy now. Listen, everybody's mind is, if you ain't doing nothing wicked, why are you getting thrown in jail?
Yeah.
Why are you catching that hell? Right? So I'm in derision daily. These people are coming at me. You know Judah, they gonna come at you every day. They don't gonna clown. Think about high school. When you were in high school, you in that fishbowl. If they find a hole in your game, don't wear the wrong outfit.
Yep.
Don't wear the wrong outfit. They gonna hang that wrong outfit over your head forever.
Yep.
Listen, you get tired about somebody, you never bring that outfit home again. You never bring that outfit to school ever again. You retire that shirt. That shirt just got retired. If you had the power, you get rid of that damn shirt at lunch and burn that shit out. But you gotta wear it, you ain't got nothing else to wear. I've been there. I wore a shirt too many times and it started fading out, and the color got bad out, and Jake was like, ooh, what color is this? And you like grabbing your shirt out, and then you want to fight. You want to fight out. But it don't solve nothing. You stuck with the shirt. Anyway, I just bringing up some old trauma, 8th grade trauma. I never forget that, bro. Woo! Anyway, what you gonna say? You had a question.
It's like what happened with that whole Alabama brawl, and everybody made a TikTok about the chair.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's picking it. I guess everybody about the chair.
Yeah.
The Bible version of
Yeah, their chair earrings. Like it's like the chair just. Yeah, I've seen chair earrings.
Everybody made a TikTok about how if you get out of order, I'm gonna bring the chair out.
Yeah. But just imagine that about you.
Yes.
About a flaw in you. I'm at derision daily. And you know, Jerusalem was a fishbowl. This is a little city of elites that will be clowning you forever. Listen, it's one thing to be in the hood and get clowned. Listen, I'm gonna say this. Don't be. Listen, it's one thing to get clowned in the hood, in a hood school. Don't go to a bougie school that's all Judah and get clowned. It's worse. The venom is worse in a bougie school. Niggas got a little money in their pocket. They got money for clothes, and you don't. It's worse. I don't know if y'all been there. Them little snooty Judite schools.
Atlanta, yeah.
Listen, whether it's Atlanta or there was a place in L.A. like Ladera Heights, bro. Listen, they had bread. Parents were doctors, and my parents weren't. And listen, and they will sit back and make you feel like this. They and Judah will sit back. They still Jews, but with some money in their pocket, you can't tell them nothing. Judah with money in their pocket, shit. It's different. It hits different than when Israel's broke. It's different, There's a little more mercy there. They still animals, but it's different, Anyway, that's experience talking right there. I'm telling you it to you like it is.
But you can kind of go back at the one that's on the same level as you.
Yeah. Listen, you on food stamps too, nigga. You tripping. You know you on food stamps too. You tripping. You got some shacks on too, nigga. I saw them shacks on you this last month. You got Starberries too, nigga. You tripping. Remember the Starberries like $20 out? Starberries and shacks out. You know it. Anyway, let's keep going. Read verse 7 again,
Jeremiah chapter 20, verse 7. O Lord, thou hast deceived me, and I was deceived. Thou art stronger than I, and hast prevailed. I am in derision daily. Everyone mocketh me.
I'm getting attacked. I'm getting defamed. Now they're truly assassinating my character. We read earlier how their plans are actually working. The plans that they've devised against me have worked. Then what am I doing here? Now the message is even more tainted, Father. Now what I'm bringing out, they're going to listen to me even less. And what am I doing? What's the purpose of all this then? Read on.
Verse 8. For since I spake, I cried out. I cried violence and spoil, because the word of the Lord was made a reproach unto me, and a derision daily.
He said, I've been crying out violence and spoil. I've been doing what you're telling me, and I'm being made a mockery and a reproach even more because of me doing what I'm supposed to do. Read on. But you know what the Most High is like? You know what? They hated me before they hated you.
Right.
And that's what Christ said. He's like, you're feeling what I feel. And this is why Jeremiah had to go through it. And at the time, he didn't understand it. But what he was going through was what the Most High has to feel every day. Read on.
Then I said, I will not make mention of him, nor speak any more in his name.
Because in Jeremiah's mind, you know what? I need to take a break. Because what good is me sitting back here and telling these guys they're off when nobody's listening? I'm doing what I'm told, and they're still hating me for that. Forget these guys. Forget teaching. Forget bringing out the word. Forget, you know what? I'm doing them a service, and the others getting blown up for me doing them a service trying to save them. You can see how Jeremiah's temperament is getting more extreme. In chapter 18, like, I want them dead. Slay them. Destroy them. Destroy their families. I want them dead. That's what he was praying for in chapter 18. Now he's sitting back here saying, I'm not even going to teach him out. You can see how his temperament was really getting tested.
This is a long battle.
He was losing patience.
God.
He was losing patience, and it crescendoed to the point where I didn't want to teach no more. That anger kept festering in him, like it festers in us. When you do right and you do right and you do right, that's why in James says, be not weary in what?
Well doing.
But that's easier said than done.
Yeah.
It's easier said than done to sit back and just be okay with giving and not getting anything back. Giving and not getting anything back. Giving and not being appreciated or respected or considered. Because it's not like Jeremiah wanted financial gain, but he wasn't even getting respected for what he was being there. Wasn't even being appreciated for what is being brought to the table. That is the least that mankind would want in their service to the Most High, is appreciation and respect. And the longer you do this, you realize he ain't giving that to you.
It's not about that. Yeah.
Because that's still about pride.
Right.
He's still breaking Jeremiah down to the lowest common denominator. Because we want, in the deep down, we want respect for what we do. So the Most High, like, if you're really about serving me, I'm not going to give you respect.
Do it without respect.
You have to do this without the respect. And this is why he was at the point of not wanting to teach anymore. Because he was at the point of not wanting to teach because he wasn't getting respected for what he was bringing to the table. But the Most High was also breaking him. You're supposed to do it because I want you to do it. What does respect of other people got to do with your service to me? This was a lesson. He knew Israel wasn't going to listen. But this was the Most High developing Jeremiah. This was a lesson developing him. Listen, if it's about the purest form of sacrifice, then you get nothing out the deal. But the fact that you gave to somebody else. Because that's what the Most High eventually breaks us down to. You get nothing out of it. And if you sit back here, like Christ said, if it's about what you get out of the deal, then that's your reward. Then you're going to plateau with just thank yous and daps and shaloms, and that's as far as you're going to go. Because if it's really about growing in my message, you're going to have to learn to give at the highest level and not get anything back, even respect, even adulation. You're going to get hatred back for the message you bring to the table. And if you get to that point, now you're getting close to me. Now you're with me. Now you're working with me. Because deep down, and like in the recesses of your soul, you know you want something out the deal. So the Most High sits back and knows what's in our heart, and slowly but surely he breaks down every little morsel of pride that we operate in. Every negative motivation that we're doing good works in. Because listen, Jeremiah's doing great works. But even in the great works that he's doing, the Most High still sees flaw in his reason for doing it. And the reason, and he exposes it by when now you're hated for teaching his word. Now you don't want to teach my word. That's a flaw in him.
Is that how you feel about me?
That's a flaw in you. Because you're doing it partially out of wanting the respect of other people. So now I got to take that away from Jeremiah to see if you're going to still teach this word when you get nothing out the deal on the lowest level, not even a thank you. Because haven't you felt that when you teach? I don't even get the water for the service I'm doing. Christ had to. I can't even get some oil for free. Oh, we could have sold that. Damn, I can't get some oil.
And you know we roll
all this dedication.
We roll together every day. I can't get it.
We could have sold that. Like damn. But this is how the Most High humbles us. And he humbles us because we got to do this for the purest of reasons. A lot of us serve the Most High for good reasons mixed with vanity. And that's what we don't want to accept either. A lot of us do good, but our motivations in doing good aren't the purest. So that's how he has situations be presented in our life to reveal that our motivations aren't as pure as we make them out to be. So we'll get disrespected. Won't get appreciated. And then the Most High, are you going to keep doing this work at the highest level that I know you can do it on? If you're not getting anything out the deal? The appreciation, the respect, the honor that you think you deserve? And this is where he's sitting, Jeremiah. Let's continue. Jeremiah 20 and verse 9.
Jeremiah 20 and 9. Then I said, I will not make mention of him, nor speak any more in his name.
Because why teach when I'm not being appreciated and I'm on the verge of being killed? Why keep doing this?
The cons outweigh the pros.
That's where you know where a man's heart is at, or a woman's heart is at. when the pros are less than the cons. Then you know where a person's heart is at. Because you never know what a person's intentions are until their losses, or they don't get as many benefits from doing this as they get bad benefits or bad results. That's how you know where a man's heart is, or a woman's heart is, when they're losing more than they're gaining. This is why when a person gets the knowledge, when it's all acquiring, everybody's going to be there. But the scripture says you want to commit this to faithful men who will teach others also. You'll know where a person's heart is at when they got to commit this to their life, and it's not about acquiring anymore. When it's not about gaining, now it's about losing so somebody else can benefit. Now you know where a person's heart is. That's universal. That's how the Most High tries the reins of the heart. Are you going to do this when it doesn't benefit you? Now I know your reasons are pure. Now I can work with you. But if you're here just to gain and get smarter and get wisdom, then I'm not going to work with you.
Man, so we just don't we don't want to be put in a situation where we have to prove our love, or how much we love, or we just want to say it and want people to believe it.
And we want to gain.
Right.
We want to gain.
Not in circumstances where
Supposing gain is godliness.
test it.
It's the same premise, just without the idea of getting a Bentley or getting some Versace. The gain's just
Because we tell ourselves, because I don't want those carnal things, I'm really a good person. You know, good is subjective to where you're at spiritually.
as a person.
It's not that you're bad, but there's different levels of commitment and sacrifice across the board that none of us can get around. There's different levels of commitment that each and every one of us have to acknowledge. All of us, in our own way, are good and good intentioned. And there's no doubt about that. But on the flip side, there's also levels of commitment that we're not willing to give, and each and every one of us are on the hook for that as well. We can lie and frame it how we want to, but these are the facts. Jeremiah had committed great works up to this point, but there was a level that he wasn't ready to commit to, and a motivation that was still impure that he had to overcome. So at this point, he was like, I'm not going to teach no more, because what is the benefit of doing good? I've heard that 1,000 times.
That's a constant conversation.
What is the benefit of these sacrifices? What's the benefit of me being a good wife? What's the benefit of me sitting back here and being order in a camp, or being a teacher and giving this and counseling all these hours? What's the benefit?
What do I get?
That's what it is.
That's the common denominator.
And you know what? The Most High always, when you get to that point, the answer is, it ain't about you. It's about your service. We were created to be the pottery. We were supposed to be fashioned the way He wants us to be fashioned, to commit the purpose that we were supposed to be committed to. That was what Jeremiah chapter 18, the beginning part of it, was about, before he said he's going to frame this evil against us. He was going to frame the evil against us because we didn't fit the creation and what we were purposed for. So now Jeremiah was operating under the Most High's purpose, but the Most High said there's still more in him that he can give. So he got to give more. So I got to put him in jail. He got to get beat. And then he got to come back and decide, does he want more?
The fire has to get hotter.
To bring out the best of this person.
But also to bring us to the real.
Yeah.
Because there is a diluted sense of diluted.
I'm gonna say this:
we live partially in a.
We think our righteousness is the plateau. Listen, remember it happened in 1 Kings 19 with Elijah. Elijah couldn't get past his negative, condescending output or outlook towards Israel. The Most High tried to come to him 3 times to let him know, listen, man, you can't give up on Israel. You can't give up on teaching them. You can't give up on leading them. Remember, Elijah said, I'm the only righteous guy left on earth. He said, no, it ain't. There's 7,000 men that have not bowed their knees to Baal. Just because you gave your all and it didn't work out the way you wanted, you sat back here and ran from the northern kingdom all the way to Beersheba, the lowest part of Israel. Then you ran you ran away. You stopped wanting to give to me because a result didn't work out the way you wanted. Hold on a second. And he said, because you didn't get the result you wanted for the good work you did, now you're not going to teach anymore? Because that's what Elijah did. He went from the northern city capital all the way to the southernmost part of Judah, pouting, because you didn't get the Most High didn't tell Elijah to run when Jezebel called out the hit. He ran because he was afraid and angry. It was more about anger than fear. Because he saw the Most High send fire from heaven and just consume the damn sacrifice. He knew the Most High was with him. So it wasn't about fear. It was about, I'm disgusted at giving to these people.
Which is dealing with expectations of people.
And he kept saying, I am jealous for your name's sake. I am jealous for your name's sake. And I am jealous for your name's sake 3 times. Then the Most High said, you know what, Elijah? This is what we're going to do. Go and anoint Elisha as the next priest or next prophet. Most High said, I can't do nothing more with you. That's the scary part. For all the greatness that Elijah was, the Most High was like, he has hit his plateau. He is unable to sit back and go back to Ahab. He is unable at this point to go back and keep teaching my word in the purity of the level that I need him to. So because of it, he gave him 2 instructions that he never fulfilled. He said, I need you to go to the king of Syria and give him a message. I need you to give him another message to Ahab. But before you do that, I want you to go to anoint Elisha. And the crazy thing is, he anointed Elisha. He did one more task for him, and it was Elisha's run. Moses said, I can't work with you no more because you can't get the lesson. You can't get the next lesson I got for you. That is literally 1 Kings 19, and it's scary because for all the greatness Elijah did, he said, I can't work with him. I can't build with him no more. I'm not going to kill him, but I can't build with him no more. And you're going to have to just go up and come with me. You know why?
Was that Moses and Joshua also?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. You know why? Because Moses couldn't do it a second time. He couldn't go through the shit again. Because you know why? Moses lost it off of niggas complaining about water. But that was the second generation that complained about water. He said, I can't do this no more. Once I can't, he's lost it. He's lost his patience. I can't work with him no more. I can't keep building with him. I can't keep pushing him. So the Most High said, I gotta just, it's time for him to come home with me. Just like with Elijah. Instead of corrupting him and putting him in a position to fail, I'm just gonna bring him home. That's really what it was. Because that's what the Most High says also. He brings you home when you know you're going to get corrupted the longer you're out here. Right. So to keep Elijah pure, I got to bring a person with a different temperament to continue this message. Jeremiah was at the same precipice now. But he showed the Most High he can endure and he didn't plateau. Elijah plateaued and Moses plateaued. And those were some of the greatest men that ever walked on up. This is not about knocking them. But if they can plateau, I sure the hell can plateau. So I better be humble and I better be pliable as much as I humanly can because I don't want to be replaced and I don't want to be retired like some old cattle or some old badass like
old
horse.
Yeah.
Some thoroughbred that can't do it no more.
That's why David prayed to the Most High, renew a right spirit within me. Why do you think he said that? He said, renew a right spirit within me. We don't pray those prayers.
No.
There's prayers that we know to pray, we don't pray. Because we don't want to do it.
Huh?
But the scripture says, renew a right spirit within me. He's at his request, almost how to give him a renewed spirit.
A renewed mindset.
A renewed mindset so he can go into his second wind.
Yes.
But what we do is, I brush my first wind off, and then we fixate. We're professional fixators on what we don't like as a psychological reason to stop.
And it still goes back into that loss of hope. There's outlook issues. Listen, all that situation with Ahab and Jezebel exposed his disdain, Elijah's, for dealing with Israel that didn't want to change. And those situations had to happen the way they happened to expose the flaw in the man. We know Moses was the meekest man on earth, but he had hit his breaking point. He was losing his meekness. Jeremiah, his reason, his motivation had to become pure or he was going to get removed. And this is something for all of us to be conscious of. Even the ones who are doing right have to be conscious of this. Yes, sir?
So Jeremiah couldn't see that element of himself within himself. Most High could see it, so he may not even be aware that part of him, that pride was there.
And hold on, and this is why we've been going over all these classes on Monday about how the Most High purifies us. All those difficult situations bring us to get us to see ourselves. All the affliction, all the purging is necessary for us to really see what our problems are. And then once we see where our problems are we humble enough to address them? These issues were revealed in him about, yes, he was deceived in his mind. Because in his mind, he thought that in serving the Most High, he wasn't going to have to lose all this. And there was a little pride there. And when it got revealed that there's pride, now he has to make a decision. His first response is, I'm not teaching. Because what am I going to get out of this? And then he had to really rethink himself and say, is this really what I want to do? And we're going to read later what he does. But he is no different than any of us are faced with when the Most High shows us what's really inside of us, and we pout and we complain. Then we got to decide: are we're going to trudge further? We're going to fall back
Or not.
and plateau. We all face this. Read on
So
in
you're
Jeremiah.
saying,
Huh?
you're saying,
sorry.
I'm reiterating the same point.
Okay.
So every man has a wall,
Mm.
and men have to acknowledge the wall. But men don't want to do.
But that wall is that level that we don't want to continue to push.
It
past.
always it's all the wall is simply the degree of exertion that I reject.
And all that is there's a wall because there's a pure sacrifice that's being required. A pure intention,
Come.
a pure motivation that we're not willing to do it.
Because in the truth, to get where we're at today, right now, we've jumped walls like David. I'm going back to Psalms, but David said, "Through the power of the Most High, I've leapt over a wall." That's in the physical and that's in the spiritual realm.
Mm-hmm.
Through the Most High's power, through the Scriptures, and through us accepting the direction we've been given, we've overcome spiritual walls. And it's just there's a point. What wall do you stop at?
Done. That's the question. So when we're faced with that brick wall or the adversity, then we have to make these choices. And this is why we hope and pray that we have counselors and brothers we can rely on to help clear the fogginess that's in our mind. Because Jeremiah didn't really have nobody to sit back and talk to. He had to pray and meditate after he got out of jail and had to reassess. Am I going to keep doing this? Am I going to keep going? Am I going to keep doubling down and keep facing certain death? Facing more mocking?
Right.
Facing more disdainment for serving the Most High? And it requires a person's willingness to do it for a pure reason. Everybody has to grow. Let's continue. Verse 9, I think, right?
Yeah. Jeremiah chapter 20, verse 9. Then I said, I will not make mention of him, nor speak any more in his name. But his word was in my heart as a burning fire shut up in my bones. And I was weary with forbearance.
He said, I was sick, in keeping it in.
Because
With forbearance to stop me. I was sick, man, by not getting it out.
I had to be in accordance to my purpose.
And that's the point. He had to fulfill his purpose. The issue was just purifying his purpose.
Yeah.
Right.
That was the lesson. I got to purify. It's got to be for a greater reason. Because that's what he'd be tweaking in us. We do the same damn thing every day. Right? We're always waxing on, waxing off. We're doing the same thing, but he's trying to get us to do it for a better reason.
And let me give you an example. As far as
Because we teach every day. It's the same thing with teaching. You teach every day. You get on the mic. You drop a message. And then all type of thoughts are hitting. Whether you're looking at viewership, responses, people in class, if they're listening or not, if they value the message, how many times do I got to repeat the same class over and over again? How many times do I got to repeat the concept over and over again for it to stick?
Until it sticks.
Or are there issues in me with finding motivation and doing it the same day? Am I getting tired of getting up and teaching the same class and concept? Do I feel like it's Groundhog Day every day? There's so many different things that go through your mind in the process of you doing the same routine over and over and over again. All those thoughts, all those feelings, all those emotions are exposing impure motivations, impure reasonings, impure reasons for getting up in the morning. So ultimately, this is what the Most High is trying to purge out of us. With all the good intention, there's an impurity there. And now you're going to keep attacking the impurity so that the product and the message is more refined. What are you going to say? I'm sorry.
And as far as the reasoning, does your reason evolve?
Mm-hmm.
First of all,
Well, that's the point. That's the reasoning.
I came in for the black man, for the people, to bring the nation together,
Yeah.
and then after a while, okay, it's for the babies. We're gonna do it for the babies. Then it ain't for the babies anymore, bro. The babies is gone.
The babies are adults.
The babies disappear because people be quitting.
Yeah.
So you do it for the babies, and the babies go different states. You're like,
Yeah.
you better. Who else you gonna do it for? I'm gonna do it for the paycheck. I'm gonna make the money so everybody has bread. Everybody has to pay their bills. And then brothers blow money on stupid things. See, like brothers is buying the dumbest things in poverty.
1,000 watches.
Like, bro,
why do you need all these watches,
just,
bro?
You got,
why do you need watches
your
now?
whole arm,
Watches are kind of out of.
your whole arm is
Right.
got. Listen, we have a bunch of this.
Accessory.
I got a watch, but
Yeah.
I know people that still like buy multiple watches. Like, what are you doing, bro?
Like just wasting resources.
Like every couple weeks.
It's like, okay. The goal was the brother make sure he pays his rent. And then, okay, cool. I gotta find the reason to do this shit. Well, what's the other reason? Okay, because I love Jesus. Okay, that's the reason. Because you love the Lord. And then Most High puts you through your personal battles. Like you gonna still love the Lord because you lost this.
Yeah.
You love the Lord still. You lost this, and you gotta keep finding and digging to keep an outlook, a pure mindset,
In your giving.
so you can keep extending your hand to your people. For
And,
the Most
and
High
this
sake.
is where Jeremiah is coming to grips with.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep losing.
Yeah.
These people are going to keep doubling down.
Yeah.
He already has the message in the story about Jehoiakim killing prophets that give a message he didn't want to hear. I could face death. This situation is escalating.
Yeah.
It was people devising plots to kill me. They're sitting back here devising plots to shame my name. Now I'm in jail. This is getting progressively worse. I'm going to keep losing. I have no respect in the Israelite community. What am I doing this for? Then you got to realize and say, damn, did I do it for respect? Did I serve the Most High for respect? Did I serve the Most High to be looked upon like I'm a potent guy? I know when I first came into truth, I came in for the knowledge. That was my reason. But then that reason ain't good enough. Just doing it for the knowledge ain't enough. You better do it for brotherhood. You better do it for the love of the body, the unity. And then now you're going down this rabbit hole. It would start off with knowledge, wisdom, brotherhood. We're all in this together. Then people leave. Then you lose things. Then you lose family members. And you sit back and say, what am I doing this for? And the answer is, for the Lord.
Yeah.
But then you got to sit back and that's got to be a pure motivation even in that. Because the Most High is going to keep stripping away from you different things. Comforts, leisures, things you value. Because once again, and I'm going to stop it and get back to the topic, the motivation can always be better. The reason can always be better. So let's go to verse 9.
Verse 9. Then I said I would not make mention of him, nor speak any more in his name. But his word was in mine heart as a burning fire shut up in my bones. And I was weary with forbearing, and I could not stay.
He said, I held it. You know, that could be months. He could have went months without teaching. He could have went weeks without bringing the word out. Whatever it is, he got sick to the point where he had to get it out. He couldn't keep it inside anymore. And that showed where his real heart was. His heart was in delivering the message regardless of what he was going to lose, because verse 10 explains it. Read on.
Verse 10. For I heard the defaming of many.
He says, listen, I hear all the words, I hear all the reports. I'm getting all the messages how jacked up I am. How people are sitting back, snakes are turning their back on me. They're talking about me, they're defaming me. Read on.
Fear on every side.
Listen, it's not just I'm talking about you. He's hearing plots to kill me. He's hearing about plots to end his life. He's like, I'm hearing all this. And you know what? Ultimately, it still was about teaching the word and getting the message out and delivering the message to help save the nation. For it to be known at least that the Most High is real. That prevailed over fear of death, the fear of the conspiracies that were prevalent in his face. Read on.
Fear on every side. Report, say they, and we will report it.
He's like, they're going to keep reporting about this bad news to discourage what? This is still about discouraging Jeremiah's efforts.
Yeah.
And he's getting all the reports, all the plots. Read on.
All my familiars watched for my halting.
All my familiars were watching for my downfall. The people who said they love me are waiting for me to fall. They're anticipating my downfall for my hometown. Don't forget, this is where he got sent to. He got sent to Benjamin.
And also
He was responsible for doing the Levitical priesthood in Benjamin. So he's in Anathoth in his hometown, sulking. What do you do when you're going through? When you go home, you go home to your people's house, where it all started. You go home to where it all started, and that's where they hate on you the most.
This is right
He's
here.
trying to lick his wounds, and his people are just throwing him under the bus. And wait, talking crap about him. One of his cousins came to him in jail and said, "Man, why don't you hold off? Why don't you come off your land so I can sell this land so we can make some money?" That was where his people were, a bunch of damn thieves and hucksters and takers. That happened later when he was in jail during the time of Zedekiah. His familiars watched him and were waiting for his downfall. But you know what? That also is a real thing, that you're going to feel that loneliness to truly understand that it's just you and the Most High. That was what Christ felt. Even his apostles or his disciples turned their back on him. Huh? That was what Christ was, a man of sorrows. What do you think Jeremiah is? He's a man of sorrows. Everybody turned their back against him. And once again, how else can the Most High know that you really love him? Unless everybody turn their back against you and you still going to stand up for him.
Right.
Jeremiah was truly great. So read all my familiars again.
Okay. All my familiars watched for my halting, saying, peradventure, he will be enticed, and we shall prevail against him, and we shall take our revenge on him.
So you know what they're saying? They were baiting him into a mistake.
Right.
He's going to be enticed and react. Listen, think about all of the rumors you're hearing about somebody trying to kill you. All the rumors that are being floated out about your demise and how this person got beef with you and that this person got beef with you. What would a person do in response to that? I'm going to go up to that nigga.
Look for him.
We're gonna have a conversation.
Yeah.
And you know it's going to be more than a conversation.
Yeah. Private.
But the enticement, I'm going to bait you into a fight. Then I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
I'm going to bait you into a mistake. I'm going to pull you into a mistake. You stick your neck out. Now we got him. But this came from his own people, his own family. They're going to bait him. He said, we're going to wait till he gets baited out. She's going to show us you know what. And then we're going to get him.
Yep.
But that's what they were doing. That's what the conspiracy was. We're going to bait him into a mistake. We're going to get the whole city and the whole nation against him. And when he snaps, now we're justified to kill him.
So the only way he'll make a mistake is if he succumbs to his emotions, right?
Yes, and he loses his focus on pleasing the Heavenly Father.
Right.
So his first response is just to retreat and just wallow in his anger. He's like, I can't do that. I got to go right back into these guys and keep getting baited into nonsense and just keep it about the message. Because that's what makes the teaching even more pure. I'm not going to let you bait me into taking it away from the message. Let's keep going.
Verse 11.
This is crazy, bro.
But the Most High is with me as a mighty, terrible one. Therefore, my persecutors shall stumble.
Whenever the Most High deems it time, the ones that are baiting me are going to fall. But you know what the response is? Him saying that is also him saying, I can't focus on when it's going to happen. I'm going to not take matters into my own hands.
Right.
They're going to fall when the Most High wants to do it. I'm not gonna fall for the issue. Most High got them. Read on.
And they shall not prevail. They shall be greatly ashamed, for they shall not prosper. Their everlasting confusion shall never be
The
forgotten.
Most High sees it, and when He feels it's time to break them, He's gonna break them. I got a job to do. Read on.
But, O Lord of hosts, that triest the righteous, and seest the reins and the heart.
Jeremiah understood it was a test about him. It was a test about his reins and his focus. He finally got away from it enough to realize it wasn't even about them. It was about him working on Jeremiah.
Right.
He's like, man, the Most High, he's trying me. Jeremiah, he's trying me. It ain't about these wicked dudes. He's trying my heart and my motivations.
It's just like an example of a just man may fall several times, but but the mindset is getting back up again, falling in the mindset.
You can say that. You can say that because the truth is this. What I liked about Jeremiah is even in his frustration, he stayed respectful and he stayed in order.
Okay.
That was the difference here.
Okay.
He maintained his discipline and his respect even though he didn't want to.
So
The flesh didn't let him. He didn't exactly. He just took a step back.
Okay.
But he responded well
Gotcha.
and understood that the lesson was about him. Read on.
But, O Lord of hosts, that triest the righteous, and seest the reins and the heart, let me see thy vengeance on them, for unto thee have I opened my cause.
He says, Father, you see what they're doing. Have vengeance on them, however you must do it. This next verse is crazy.
Verse 13. Sing unto the Most
Come
High.
on, man. Listen, he found a way
Wow.
to get past the anger and the bitterness and to be appreciative about what the Most High has put him through. He went from a significant range of emotions from verse 7 to verse 13. Now he's singing praise. Now he's at peace with the fact that the whole city's against him. Yes, Tazba.
This is the definition of integrity, y'all.
Cannot. There's no doubt about it. Listen, man. But he was at the point where he was ready to quit on just doing his job. But he responded. How he responded was magnificent. He sat back, man, sing praise to the Lord because this was really about me. He understood that this is about the Most High trying my motivation. He got recentered and he stopped making it about these outside people and these outside forces, and he locked his mind down and got back on his job. And then when he realized it was about the lesson he was given, then he was able to find pleasure. So when all of us are angry and bitter and pissed off about our condition, we're making it about the outside forces that are agitating us. When we're not realizing the outside forces are there to show you where you're ungrateful at, where you're unappreciative at, where your outlook is impure. And if you could just find out what lesson the Most High is teaching you through your circumstance, that's where you can find peace and joy again. Yes, sir.
And this is with him having to come to him.
Yeah, yeah. You remember that face that Martin had when he was all swollen? That swollen Martin face out? Yeah. He had that swollen Martin Lawrence head,
That was funny.
With everybody against him, and they're plotting him, and they're baiting him, You say something, we're going to get you. Say it. Bruh. But, once again, the remedy to finding joy is the message we really got to figure out. It's like the different stages of spiritual grief. I'm angry. I'm pissed off. Well, first of all, before you say angry or pissed off, you're disappointed that you didn't expect that you had to go through this level of problems to serve and please the Heavenly Father. There's a perplexity there. Then it's anger. Then it's distance.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't want to give anymore.
Right.
And then you have a decision. Am I going to continue or not? And once you make that choice to continue, the only way you can is you got to understand that the Most High is trying the righteous, and all those outside forces were there to bring out something in you, a flaw in you that you got to fix. And once you can come to that reality, then you can find peace in the Most High and sing the Most High's praises. This chapter 20 gives us a template of how to get out of our own heads.
Right.
And how to maintain the ability to give at the purest motivation and reason behind it. Yes.
That it can be done.
That it can be done.
We lose hope. That there is no hope. Like this ain't going nowhere. Ain't nobody else gone through something like this.
Exactly.
There is a template. So someone did go through this.
Kinda. And he walked us through it.
And it's not how it shot was perfect.
Yes. He was perfect. Yeah, exactly.
But this was a real man. He had real thoughts, real feelings, real.
Mm-hmm.
She was real.
Kinda. I was talking to Kyle yesterday. We was talking about how Paul had run from the people that were trying to kill him early in his job teaching the word of the Most High. But it got to the point where he was aged, he realized, I got to face this, man. I got to face these Jews that want to kill me. I got to face whatever the Most High puts me through. And I fought my fault. I've done what I could. But it took maturity to get him to that point. To get him to stop running from the imposing death that was on his head and to embrace whatever the Most High was going to give it to him. That's all of our challenges. Are we going to embrace the battle that is presented in front of us? Or are we going to keep running and making excuses why I can't face what the Most High has got this world prepared for me to face? Jeremiah embraced it. After this, his level of teaching and investing went to another level.
Right.
Once he accepted what he had to do and how purely he had to sacrifice for the Most High, then he was able to do even greater works in the Most High. It's the same thing for us. Once we embrace the loss and embrace the impending loss that has to come from doing that which is right, then you can fulfill your purest
Works.
but it was your purest intention the Most High had for you. So read verse 13 again, man.
Jeremiah 20 and 13. Sing unto the Most High. Praise ye the Most High. For he hath delivered the soul of the poor from the hand of the evildoers.
The question is this: Did he deliver him from the hand of evildoers? No. He didn't deliver him from the hand of evildoers, but psychologically he did, because he was caught up mentally. He kept getting banged on by the evildoers physically,
And also,
but now he got to the point where whatever you did to me physically doesn't matter. Mentally, I've gotten past it. Mentally, I've gotten past your goading of me and you're baiting me into these simple issues, these simple back and forth disputes. And about the back and forth dispute, it's about me being in order with the Most High and not letting all the outside noise get to me and affecting my effort towards the Most High.
and the soul is the seat of passion.
Done.
I'm not letting other people's negative dictate my passion for the Father.
And how much I give to the Heavenly Father and to my people.
Yeah.
Because we do that. We let people's negative and their negative intention and what this person says affect what we do every day. That's how he got elevated. But evildoers kept doing evil things. And they physically kept harming him. This ain't the last time he got beat. This is the last time their negativity broke him and affected him and shook him. That's where it died. Continue.
Verse 14. Cursed be the day wherein I was
The
born.
funny thing is, even though he's praising the Most High, that anger is still frustrating. That anger is still there. Listen, even though he understood it, he understood the lesson, and he didn't let the negative of other people get in the way of his job. It still was an aggravation there. That's what said, "Cursed be the day I was born." Because he's not saying
Right.
this ain't about birthdays. This is about the battle he's going through, and how intense it is, and how frustrating this is. Even though he's got the understanding, how many times you get the understanding of something, but you're still aggravated by it? All the damn time. Just because you got the picture, you got the understanding, and I have the capacity to praise the Heavenly Father. Don't mean I'm like, great!
Yeah.
Let me go to pasture and get my ass kicked. Yeah!
See, I do this.
I love it!
We still human.
You're still human, and that's the point. He still is a human, but he gets it. He gets the point now. I don't know about you, when you sit back and you do it and you feel good, sometimes people's words seem like, I got the understanding of what the Most High was trying to tell me, so I'm moving on from that.
Right.
I'm going to move on. But but you're getting kind of, and you're getting aggravated, bro. But this is the dynamic he's going through. Read on.
Cursed be the day when I was born. Let not the day wherein my mother bare me be blessed.
Mm-hmm.
Cursed be the man who brought tidings to my father, saying, a man-child is born unto thee, making him very glad.
This is him just kind of embellishing the battle. Read on.
And let the man be as the cities which the Most High overthrew, and repented not. And let him hear the cry in the morning, and the shouting at noontide.
He's just saying, listen, man, what I'm going through is times of sorrow and sadness, and he's embellishing it, explaining how, like, my birth should have been days of sadness if this is how my life is going to end up.
Right.
This isn't a joyous. If I was born, and if I knew if my family was going to go through, this should have been a mournful time, the time of my birth, not a happy time. Because where I'm at now is not a happy time. But I accept it. I accept that this is the will of the Heavenly Father. And that's the power. Just like Christ, when he said, you know what, if it's up to you, if you can let this pass, cool. But let thy will be done if it's not. He said that thrice. Because that's how it feels. You want to go, but if that ain't the will, you got to eat it. And this is where Jeremiah is. It didn't feel good, but he accepted it.
Right.
Read on.
Verse 17. Because he slew me not from the womb, or that my mother might have been my grave, and her womb to be always great with me. Wherefore came I forth out of the womb to see labor and sorrow, that my days should be consumed with shame.
He didn't know it, but now he's in it. So with a combination of him accepting his shameful life from here on out, he was able to be potent for the Heavenly Father down the way. He just accepted the shame that was going to come to him. He stopped being aggravated, but why do I got to get shamed for doing the right thing? And when he accepted that was just part of the cross he had to bear, then he became even more potent in his service to the Heavenly Father.
Right.
I'm going to stop it there because I thought that was enough of the message. We can go longer, but I don't want to keep adding on to different messages. I think that was enough for us to kind of like...
The cup is right here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the
It's
point.
overflow a little bit.
Kind of. So I'm going to go back and read Jeremiah 2. This is a monster chapter, man. And I advise everybody else to go back over it. It really explains that dynamic and the ups and downs. It goes from doing the right thing, being bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and serving the Most High, and then getting punched in the mouth to deal with the realities of what it takes to serve the Most High. And then coming to grips and going through all the cycles of emotion and come to grips about how you really have to operate in being abased. And then finding clarity and peace of mind in your abasement. But anyway, like I said, there's more to go, but all we got is time. I don't want to rush things. With that, we're going to send our prayers up. Israel, Amajim, Wapanya, Yerushalayim. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh, please listen to us right now. Send Michael and the righteous angels to watch over, bless, heal, protect, and make strong the people of Yahshua. Also send unto us much wisdom, much knowledge, much understanding, much patience, much faith, much brotherhood, and much love, spiritual power, and forgive all of our sins. Yahweh shall come quickly, for in thee is our hope, always and forever. Amen. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshai. Hahawa. Nothing wrong. Hathawah.
Bless you, Yahweh, the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the law.
Baruch Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshai. Hahawa. Nothing wrong. Award. Lava.
Bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the light to see.
Baruch Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshai. Hahawa. Nothing wrong. Ha'ayah. Quara. La Quara. Ha'ay.
Bless are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the ram's horn to call the people.
Baruch Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshai. Hahawa. Nothing wrong. Shaman. Zayat. La Mashach. Yeshua.
Bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the olive oil to anoint Israel.
Psalms 92. It is a good thing to give thanks unto the Lord.
It is a good thing to give thanks to the Lord.
And to sing praise unto thy name.
Sing praise to thy name.
O Yahweh. To show forth thy loving kindness in the morning.
Show forth thy loving kindness in the morning.
And thy faithfulness every night.
Thy faithfulness every night.
Upon an instrument of 10 strings.
Upon an instrument of 10 strings.
And upon the psaltery. Upon the harp. With the solemn sound. For thou, Yahweh, hast made me glad through thy work. I will triumph in the works of thy hands. O Yahweh, how great are thy works, and thy thoughts are very deep. A brutish man knoweth not, neither doth the fool understand this. When the wicked springeth the grass, and when all the workers of iniquity do flourish, it is that they shall be destroyed forever. But thou, Yahweh, art most high forevermore. For lo, thine enemies, O Yahweh, for lo, thine enemies shall perish. All the workers of iniquity shall be scattered. But my horn shalt thou exalt. Like the horn of a unicorn. I shall be anointed with fresh oil. Mine eye also shall see. My desire on my enemies. And my ear shall hear. My desire of the wicked that rise up against me. The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. He shall grow like a cedar in Lebanon. Those that be planted in the house of the Lord shall flourish in the courts of our power. They shall still bring forth fruit in old age. They shall be fat and flourishing. To show that the Lord is upright. He is my rock, and there is no unrighteousness in him. Ba'Shem Yahshai. Psalms 133. Shayar, Hama'ayawa, La Dawad, Hana, Ma, Tawad, Wama, Na'ayam, Shabbat, Akim, Gam, Yachad, Kashaman, Hatawad, Ayo, Harash, Yerad, Ayo, Hazakwan, Zakwan, Aharan, Shayarad, Ayo, Hayah, Manawath Yawad, Kator, Haramwan, Shayarad, Ayo, Haroria, Tazayawan, Kaya, Sham, Tazawah, Yahweh, Habaraka, Kayayim, Habalam, Ba'Shem Yahshai.
Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious ointment upon the head that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard, that went down to the skirts of his garments, as the dew of Hermon, and as the dew that descended upon the mountains of Zion. For there the Lord commanded the blessing, even life forevermore. Amen.
Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshai. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshai. Wachno, Washroya, Wabyef, Support, Turk. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshai. Wachno, Washroya, Wabyef, Support, Turk. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshai. Wachno, Washroya, Wabyef, Support, Turk. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshai. Wachno, Washroya, Wabyef, Support. Work they hope.
Work they hope.
Work they hope shut.
Work they hope shut.
Work they hope.
Work they hope.
Work they hope shut.
Work they hope shut.
Work they hope.
Work they hope.
Work they hope shut.
Work they hope shut.
Work they hope.
Work they hope.
Work they hope shut.
Work they hope shut.
All knowledge, all wisdom, all understanding, all mercy, all patience, all loving kindness, all power from Yahweh. All power from Yahweh. All power from Yahweh. All right, Shem, Yahushai, the water, Miyat, Aman. Circle up. Go for it.
Saluting Yah in the heavenly order. Yahweh, Yahushai, Ukol Yisrael, Min Israel, Umadru, Brought
Yahweh Hashem Yahushai Barakah.
Stop. Assistance. Saluting Yah, the daughters of Zion, Min Israel, Umadru, Brought
Yahweh Shema Hashem Hashem Yahushai.
Yahweh Shamar Alataba Hashem Yahushai.
Yes, Matap. Dismiss. Voila. All right, Israel, throughout the Q&A. See y'all on Monday.